James West here, reporting from Houston, Texas for Climate Desk. Now, one of the biggest uncertainties in climate science right now is the role of clouds. What better way to work that part out than flying right through them? That's what NASA scientists aboard this airplane think. Welcome to NASA's biggest airborne laboratory. You're coming with us today on an 8-hour NASA flight mission.
When you read these big IPCC climate assessments, what's the biggest uncertainty? There's two, right? The role of aerosols and clouds. Clouds is probably bigger than aerosols.
That is a piece of a puzzle that right now we are missing.
You can't get the models right if you don't understand the chemistry and the process.
Now we're being told we've got to get on. The doors are about to shut, so let's go aboard. Every time you turn on the weather, every time you hear a climate change prediction, that information has to come from somewhere. And it starts by getting sucked out of the air from planes like this.
So this mission is to particularly try to understand the emissions from the surface, so mostly biogenic emissions, so from trees and other plants.
Right now we're flying to our very first part of this experiment on the DC-8. Over Arkansas, there's a particularly pungent bouquet of emissions that scientists are interested in measuring.
Well, these emissions lead to both aerosols and to molecules that both destroy and create ozone. So these are very important things to understand for climate studies.
How it will manifest itself, it will be in more accurate and more reliable predictions.
So what we're doing is taking a series of flyovers, each at a different level of the atmosphere, scooping up those emissions, testing them, and hopefully scientists are going to see exactly what's in this column of air all the way up.
The data that we collect in one flight can keep busy 60 scientists and students for 3 years, 4 years. We're still studying data from data collected 20 years ago.
In fact, this particular mission today is its most heavily equipped in its nearly 30 years of service. Each one of these consoles here is a specially equipped scientific instrument designed to collect all sorts of different data in real time.
And this instrument here tracks the sun.
We're looking at mist chambers. They're used to strip soluble gases.
This black line is the CO2. It's about 390 ppm right now.
We're putting these filters in the bags that we've got the aerosols that we trapped out of a certain amount of air. And so we're sampling up here about 150 liters a minute.
That ultimately flows back into the operational models. It flows back into what goes on TV every day.
Anyway, I got to get this sample going.
You do it. It's a busy man at work. We can't let him rest. Well, get this. We've just spent 2 hours crisscrossing this one cloud formation. In, back out again, back in again.
Then they grow, and we track them as long as we can, and then we let it go.
Even one cloud can hold a host of answers to the mysteries of climate change.
The patterns of, where the clouds are, what type of clouds we see, what kind of weather systems they're associated with it, that'll all be shifting in a shifting climate, in a world with climate change.
Then the big spark is this, is when we actually get the meat on the grill. And then it will be some time to process it.
This is why you took a second job. Why you taught yourself how to fix the plumbing. Why you'll do whatever it takes to keep your home. And that is why we want to help. We are making home affordable, a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. Call 888-995-HOPE today.
All right, here we go. Thursday, January 14. Hello, everybody. Great to see you here on Free Speech TV. Good to see you out there worldwide on our video stream, TawkrTV. And it is the morning after Powerball. Check your tickets. There were at least 3 big winners for that $1.6 billion bonus jackpot prize last night. 1 ticket in California, 1 winning ticket in Tennessee, and 1 winning ticket in Florida. There could be more. It's a hell of a deal. You win $1.6 billion, have to share it with a couple of other people. What a bummer. Yeah, I'd take that. There is other news. President Obama, of course, out on the road selling his message from the State of the Union. He started out yesterday in Omaha, Nebraska, and then went on to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where he will begin the day today with a couple of events, and then coming back here to Washington. Yes, and after the Clintons sent Chelsea Clinton and other spokespersons out against Bernie Sanders when Bernie Sanders suddenly was beating Hillary Clinton in the polls in Iowa and New Hampshire, well, the Clintons attacked Bernie, and yesterday Bernie struck back, pointing out pretty decisively that Chelsea Clinton didn't know what the hell she was talking about, showing that Hillary Clinton in the past has praised Bernie to the skies for being the leading authority on health care in this country. And, of course, when the Clintons attack, the money has just been rolling into the Sanders campaign. Bernie raised at least $1.5 million over the last 24 hours in response to the Clinton attacks. And Ted Cruz, turns out, got $1 million loan from Goldman Sachs when he ran for the Senate that he just somehow failed to report. Oops. Lots to talk about. Give us a call, 866-55-PRESS.
This is the Bill Press Show.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek,
Newtown.
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
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 Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act.
Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
Check your ticket. There's a Powerball winner, and it could be you. Good luck. Hope it is. Hello, everybody. Thursday, January 14. Yep. Yesterday, the morning after the State of the Union. Today, a lot more important day, the morning after the Powerball drawing. We are coming to you live, all you Powerball junkies across the land of ours. We're there with you on the radio, and we're there with you on television, on the radio, on your local progressive talk radio station, on television, on Free Speech TV, and on TawkrTV. No, we're not there on Al Jazeera. No. So don't look for us on Al Jazeera because Al Jazeera ain't no more. Anyhow, all right. So good to see you today. Thanks so much. We got lots and lots to talk about on the political front, on the economic front, on the diplomatic front, and on the Powerball front. We will get to all of it with you and look forward to hearing from you at 866-55-PRESS. That's our toll-free number. Look forward to getting your comments on Twitter at BP Show and Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. Peter Rockburn and Jamie Benson here in studio this morning.
Here we are.
Hello, Bill. They were up all last night waiting for the drawing.
So happy it's Thursday.
Yeah, how about it?
SHI Thursday.
Right. Ray Rogers also here on the phones for your calls at 866-55-PRESS. And, of course, rounding out our team, Cyprian Bolding, our videographer. And so it was Powerball fever. Everybody talked about it last night, including Jimmy Fallon.
During his speech, President Obama criticized companies for not being loyal enough to their employees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, employees would agree, but they were busy buying Powerball tickets so they could quit their jobs. I'm not that loyal. Bye, Z's. Yeah, thanks. I'm going to be on an island, dude. Yeah, that I own. Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild. So coming up on a Thursday, as always, Susan Page from USA Today will be here. Washington Bureau Chief for USA Today. Keith Mestrich, President of Amalgamated Bank, here on the job numbers and on the state of the economy. And a little bit later, the Washington head of MoveOn.org, which yesterday made a big endorsement in the presidential primary, endorsing Senator Bernie Sanders. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Just a couple of other stories making news. You hear about this the Star Wars movie, this Force Awakens?
Oh, no.
You hear about
Is
this?
there a new Star Wars
There's a
movie?
new Star Wars movie.
I didn't know that.
And it continues to be a juggernaut. It is poised to pass Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 for the 5th spot on the list of top international box office grosses. Now, we know that here in North America, it is already number one. It beat Avatar to take over that place. So this is a crazy number, man. Their the whole total number, their international total is $946.9 million. We're talking Powerball money almost.
Yeah, right.
So Jurassic World is the 4th spot. That's the next one that they have to take over. That is sitting at 1.02. I didn't realize this. The Furious 7 is number 3 on the list. And yeah, right?
Yeah.
Avatar is number 2 on the is number 1 on the list. So that's at $2.3 billion.
Still. Wow.
Still, Avatar is still the biggest international one. So they've got about roughly $1 billion to go before they pass that one. But remember, it just opened up in China this past week. So they got some momentum, man. They might do it. They might do it. Speaking of Disney, who now owns Star Wars, they announced that they are opening a theme park in China. It's the only Disney theme park on mainland China. It was originally, they announced...
They already had one.
They have one that's not on mainland China. It's sort of in that area, like...
Macau.
something like that. I forget where it is. But it was supposed to actually open last year. They had been planning on doing it, but they are opening up bigger and better worlds, they say, and that they need to have a little more time. It's going to have 6 themed lands. This is in Shanghai. It's called Shanghai Disney. Adventure Isle, Gardens of Imagination, Mickey Avenue, Tomorrowland, Treasure Cove, and Fantasyland. So, big doings there in Shanghai. You remember a couple years ago when everybody had bedbug fever, right? Bedbugs were a whole thing sweeping the nation, right?
It's making me itch just thinking about it.
I know. Like, I have a whole thing about, like, going to a hotel or something. If it, like, the bedbug thing scares the hell out of me. But there was a new study, took a look at which city has the most bedbugs. This is from Orkin, the pest control company. Number 1 on the list. Congratulations to... Chicago! Chicago is number 1 on the list. Whew.
That was a close one.
Yeah, no, not here. Not here.
This is in hotels or homes or overall?
This is overall. So this is homes, hotels, work even, because they don't just
Rahm
get
Emanuel.
I know, I'm telling you.
That's it.
Blame it on Rahm.
He's got a lot of problems.
The police
By the way,
the police thing was bad enough now, Rahm, but this is it. This is it.
I do have some bad news. Number 3 on the list is Washington, D.C. So,
yeah, right.
There you go.
Better get it checked.
I mean, I travel a lot. I stay in a lot of hotels. I don't even want to think about it. I remember years ago, but it still sticks in my mind. I remember somebody did a story in some channel somewhere out in L.A., and they took one of these infrared lights or something.
Oh, dude, don't ever
and they
do
showed,
that.
the cover on the bed, right?
Yeah,
the spell
yeah,
and they just showed, and we could see all the... No.
I'm sure you weren't just seeing bed bugs.
No,
it wasn't just bed bugs. There's all kinds of stains and who knows what. No.
Oh, my.
All right. Yes, it is. Let's go. Check your ticket. The winning numbers are 8, 27, 34, 4, 19, and Powerball 10. And I've got a big announcement to make. I won the Powerball.
Hey, congratulations.
I won the Powerball, but that's all I won, unfortunately.
Oh, you got the one number.
Yeah, I have the one number. I have the 10. I've got the important number.
Well, there you go.
Which means I think I get some money back.
You get $4. You get $4 for
but
the
I
Powerball.
spent 10.
Well, therein is the problem with the lottery.
That's not more than 4.
It's $4 when you get the Powerball.
All right. Oh man. All right. Well, at least I got $4 back, right? Yep. There it is. Bruh. Now
here's the deal. By the way, so in case you're wondering, because there are a lot of ways to win.
I want to know something first.
Go ahead.
Did you buy any tickets?
I, for the very first time in my life, bought a lottery ticket.
Powerball ticket.
Powerball ticket. Yeah.
I knew it. See, this is it. And I want to know from you, 866-55-PRESS, how many tickets did you buy? Did you buy? Is this the first time? This was a fever. So let's get this roll call before we get to your point there. Jamie?
0. Still
Get
have,
out of here.
Still have to this day not. I've never bought a lottery ticket.
Nope. All right. So the fever didn't get.
By the way, I don't know if I won or not. My ticket's at home and I didn't check it this morning.
Oh man, call.
No idea. I know, right? I might have won.
Ray, did she buy anything? Ray, did you buy
She
any?
bought
How many
Powerball.
tickets?
How many?
5.
Five tickets.
That's what I did, by the way. I'm going by Cyprian's rule, which is minimum 5. Remember I said yesterday I was only going to buy one ticket? No.
Buy as many as you can afford.
Cyprian convinced me 5 minimum.
I bought 4. I bought one for every member of my family.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right. And
so I might have won.
Of course, right. Whichever one would have been yours.
They're all mine. Let's be clear about that.
All right, Cyprian, behind the closed door.
Did you play? 5 tickets he bought. Oh, he got the Powerball too.
The Powerball too. I'll split it with you.
Congratulations, you guys.
Yeah, I get $2. Now I get $2.
Yeah, you could buy an island together.
All right, so there it is. 4 out of 5 people here bought the Powerball. And that is significant. And I'll bet there were millions and millions of people who never bought a Powerball ticket this.
Guaranteed.
But when you see $1.6 billion, you had to do it. Why did you do it?
I was actually at the grocery store yesterday, and they have those little electronic screens where you buy your Powerball stuff, and it shows you sort of what it's up to and when the drawing is and all that. And I walked by, and I just saw the number there, $1.5 billion.
Yeah.
And I said,
What are you gonna do?
You know what? Let's do this. So I went up, and I bought tickets for everybody in the family. And
Yeah. When I was buying mine last night, there was a woman walked up, and she was so excited. And she said, never bought one before in her life. And she said, I just want one, right? I said, that's all you need.
Yeah.
That's all you need. It's just one. Now,
there is something about, and I make fun of you a lot for the whole, I won't buy a Powerball ticket until it gets to like 300 million because that's when it's really worth playing. But there is something about the number that called out to me.
Yes.
$1.5 billion.
Absolutely. No. So the question is, did you buy, and what's that, 866-55-PRESS? But not everybody is very excited about this. Bill Nye, who's one of the smartest guys around.
Sure.
He's still around, by the way. Bill Nye, the science guy. This is way back in 1990. His warning about the then lotto, or the lottery.
I can only imagine how much fun it must be to draw up the plans for your new summer home, or the thrill of knowing that soon all your credit cards will be paid off. I can only imagine because, you see, I can't play lotto. I've had an education. I realize that the lottery is a tax on people who are bad at math. The lottery for me is like Russian roulette. It's like having a giant gun with 6,999,999 bullets in it and only one empty chamber. Then asking myself, would I hold it to my head for $1?
Yes.
We will, apparently.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
We will.
So did you, again, 866-55-PRESS. All right, now before we go to your calls, here are the numbers, right? By the way, it started out at $40 million back in November 7th, but because they changed the rules, so you have 69 options for each number now instead of 59, there have been no winners. There's been some 21 times. And now, again, it was $1.6 billion. If you took the cash, that's $930 million. After taxes, $562 million. But as you point out, Peter,
there were 3 winners. One near Chino Hills, or in Chino Hills, near L.A.,
California.
There was also one in Tennessee and another one in Florida. So you got 3 winners who are all going to split the jackpot.
And so they only walk away after taxes with about $187 million. I'll take it.
Hardly worth it.
I'll take it. Plus, there are, who knows how many...
Arizona, California, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Virginia have all sold $1 million tickets. So the way that this works really quickly is if you get all of them, including the Powerball, then you win. But if you get 5 numbers and you don't get the Powerball, that's $1 million. If you get 4 numbers plus the Powerball, that's $50,000. If you get 4 numbers without the Powerball, that's $100, and then it goes down from there all the way down to $4 if you get the Powerball.
So there are a whole handful of $1 million winners out there.
That's a lot.
Yeah, all right. Here's our buddy Joey out in Chicago. Joey, I hope you got one of those numbers.
No, I'm very depressed. Not only didn't I win, but now I think I might have bed bugs, Bill. What a disappointing morning.
Man, this is a bad way to wake up, Joey.
Double whammy.
You double whammy this morning. I did hit the Powerball number, so I want to go in on that island with you and Cyprian.
All right.
I hit the Powerball number.
You got the Powerball number. Well, see, there we are. At least there's some good people with that. Hey, Joey, now look, I want to tell you, it's just set yesterday. March 9, mark it down. I'm going to be out there at a big book signing. I'm not exactly sure what bookstore yet, with my new book. March 9 in Chicago. And last time I went to Chicago, and the first thing I said was, where's Joey? And he wasn't there. So I'm just giving you plenty of advance notice here.
By the way,
all of our friends in Chicago. March 9 for WCPT, big book signing in Chicago.
I have an update.
Yes.
I won the Powerball.
You did?
I won. I had the Powerball number with you and Sip. I had 10.
Really?
On one of my tickets. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So listen to just
I win
synergy right there.
Yeah, I win $4. Yeah, the power of 10. It's the power of 10.
Up in Eureka, California. Great town where I was not so long ago. Here's Dennis. Hi, Dennis. What do you say?
Hi. I was going to admit that I did not buy a ticket because once you get to such a large amount of money, it's not enough. 40% goes to the government. The remaining 60%, you have to spend half of it on bodyguards to keep all the whiners away from you. There'll be countless people banging on your door with all those kind of stories on why you.
That is true, by the way.
That is true.
Dennis.
And all kinds of charities, right? And all kinds of good causes, right? You know, Dennis?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there are some good causes, but this is what the bodyguards would do. They could filter out the riffraff from the good causes.
How about a lawyer?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, this happens all the time, right? Whenever it gets really high, someone publishes a piece on like what you should do.
Right.
Don't tell anybody if you won the Powerball. Don't tell anybody. Go to talk to a lawyer who knows what they're doing. I mean, if you're one of the 3 people who won Powerball, go talk to a lawyer. They'll handle everything for you. Eventually, you might be in one of these states because some of them require you to give your information to let them know that your name is out there. But let a lawyer handle this for you. They know what they're doing, because the second that your name comes out that you just won the lottery, the Powerball, your phone ain't going to stop ringing.
Right. And I saw a number the other day, I forget now, about the amazing percentage of Powerball lottery winners who have ended up bankrupt.
Yeah.
So, woman, come back. Come on, let's continue to talk about. Come on, fess up. Just be honest. How many tickets did you buy and why, or didn't you buy and why? 866-55-PRESS. Interesting story this morning on NPR also on what you could and could not buy with your Powerball winnings.
Oh, wow.
You'd be surprised. We'll be right back.
Follow us on Twitter @BP Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. When I say dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you come.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Same time next week?
Well, of course.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan, big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, 26 minutes after the hour. Yes, indeed. Talking Powerball fever. I sound like Bernie Sanders.
Fever. We got a fever for Powerball.
Fever. America has it indeed. Yes, NPR did a funny little story. Let's say if you got that 562 million. Let's say you were the only winner. You got the cash, $562 million, which you could buy, what you couldn't buy. You could buy the Washington Post. Which Jeff Bezos bought for $250 million.
Wow.
But you could not buy BuzzFeed.
Oh, wow.
BuzzFeed's valued at $1 billion. So,
isn't that interesting?
Sorry, can't buy BuzzFeed.
That's actually fascinating.
It is, isn't it? Too bad, huh? All right, back out to Chicago. Here's Carl. Hello, Carl. What's
How you
up?
doing?
Okay.
Happy Wednesday.
And you.
I would love to see 60 Minutes.
Hey, it's Thursday. Carl, it's Thursday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I got so excited about the Powerball. I would love to see 60 Minutes do a public service announcement and have Bill Nye come on the air and have the three winners that won and have Bill Nye sit down and lecture to these people and say, listen. The odds of winning are so low. It's such a waste of money to play the Powerball. You're just wasting. You're probably not very good at math.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear the reaction from the people, and they would say, "Oh, you know what? You got a point there. We're not going to play anymore."
Yeah.
I would love to see that too, Carl.
That's one thing to keep you from playing the Powerball, lifelong financial security.
Obviously, you'd never had an education. Because you're walking away with $187 million. More Powerball stories, 866-65
This is the Bill Press Show.
Today, in this country, we are having a conversation about police violence, the killing of black men, and what all that means. It is sad that this is happening and that every day there's a new incident to cause us to keep thinking about it and talking about it. But it is extraordinary that the American people are having to deal with this every day, whether you're watching CNN or MSNBC, Fox, or ABC News. All the news channels are talking about police violence and what does that mean against black people. Many people probably look at that, certainly have looked at it in the past, And they have said that these poor black men are doing bad things, and that's why they are ending up in confrontations with police without any understanding of their lives of these poor black young men. Part of what has been going on for decades is that poor black people live in communities that suffer from hyper-surveillance of the police. The police are more likely to be in their communities. The police are more likely to arrest them. The police are more likely to stop them even if they're not doing anything. And that is what is so hard for the American people to believe, that you would get stopped and searched and arrested by the police and not doing anything. But this is starting to come out as people are telling the stories over and over again. But this has been the condition, this hyper-surveillance by police, making it more likely for people to get a record, to be known by the police, and then once they get in the system, it is almost impossible to get out because of the whole system of being on parole and missing an appointment or fraternizing with a person who has a criminal record, getting you right back in the jail, and then going back again and again and again. This is coming to be seen by the American people in a way that it has never been seen before. But why are people in these communities in the first place? That's getting peeled away. People are there because of housing discrimination. They are there because this is the only place where affordable housing can be found. They are there because that's where their families live, and people are drawn to being in communities where they are comfortable. The combination keeps people in these low-income communities where they are an easy target for hyper-surveillance and then everything that comes from it. And so as we think about these issues, we have to understand that while you as an individual in this society, as a white individual, you may not carry personal racism, but that does not keep the system from operating in a racist way.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
To get in the way before it happens.
To get a friend home safe.
And to not blame the victim.
It's on us.
To look out for each other.
To
not look the other way.
It's on us to stand up.
To step in.
To take responsibility.
It's on us, all of us,
to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Making 34 minutes after the hour now here on the Bill Press Show this Thursday, January 14, when three lucky people are trying to sit down and figure out, hey, Ma, what do we do with $187 million? Whew. Wow. maybe we can get that new lawnmower for the back 40 here.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, right.
By the way, we had 3 big winners, but we're tweeting
Yes.
at BP Show, where NC Nomad points out there was another big winner last night. The government.
The government.
Because the government gets 40% of those earnings.
And yeah, by the way, 40%, of course. There you go.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
No, not at all.
I don't have
But
a
let's
problem
just
with
be
that.
clear.
No.
The government went out big last night.
Yeah, good point. I'll tell you who was not a big winner last night also. The 6 states, Nevada being one of them, I'm not sure what the others are, the 6 states that do not allow the Powerball, there's going to be a lot of pressure in those states today to get on board.
Believe it.
Huh?
Now, it's
Right?
funny.
Yeah.
I was doing talk radio back in South Carolina when there was a big debate over the lottery, right? Because we didn't have it when I was growing up. And there was the success story that we always pointed to was Georgia, because Georgia has the education lottery, as you know. And so that was sort of the big thing, and that was the big fight is we start a lottery here, we get the education lottery. It helps pay for people to go to school in state and things like that. And that won, and it's been very, very popular.
Yeah, and I was still active in California and active in California when we went through the whole same debate over the California lottery, which was set up to, the money from it goes to schools.
Yeah.
I don't know what percentage now of the school's budget is from the state lottery, but it's significant. And so I used to buy California lottery tickets just because, first of all, the fun of buying them, but also it went for education. And, that would be interesting to see. I'm not sure from state to state where the lottery money goes. In most states, I think, it doesn't just go to the general fund, for general slush stuff. It's targeted.
Yeah.
And education, I think, in more cases than not.
That's
But
usually the selling point.
yeah. At any rate, if you didn't win, I'm sorry for you. And if you didn't buy a ticket, I'm even more sorry for you because you missed out all the fun. Something else I wanted to just mention here, because in the media world, it is a huge story today, and that is the announcement yesterday that by Al Jazeera America, not the Al Jazeera network entirely, just Al Jazeera America, that they were going to shut their doors as of April 30, which is sad news. But, enough newspapers and other radio stations and TV stations have disappeared that we hate to see another big media outlet disappear. But we have our own connection with Al Jazeera America, which makes it even more personal for us. First of all, I got to say, they had a good broadcast, I think. Good newscast.
They hired a lot of good journalists.
And they hired a lot of
doing.
good journalists, right, yeah. Ali Velshi, who was at CNN, he's been in studio as our guest, was a great hire of theirs. Michael Vicaris, who covers the White House for Al Jazeera America, is a great reporter, one of the best in the White House briefing room, one of the best reporters, period. David Schuster, our good friend, who's guest hosted here many times, had his own show on MSNBC, a good friend, good hire at MSNBC, and there were others that just not popping in my head. So they had a good broadcast, and a lot of good people. There are a couple of problems with it. The big problem was, and everybody said, this is a winner because this network is owned by the government of Qatar, which has unlimited resources and no end to their money. So they don't have to, in terms of ratings, right? They never got above an asterisk, right? Never. But it didn't matter. They didn't care. They didn't need any revenue. They didn't need any money because they had oil. Well, that didn't work out so well. Oil is now down around $30 a barrel. Imagine that. I mean,
it's cheaper than
100
water.
people said this is shocking. It's now around 30. And Qatar just said, we don't have the money anymore. We can fund the rest of the network, but not this losing part of it.
Yeah.
So just said we're going to shut.
It's sad because you hate to think that part of it is that we just wouldn't accept a company called Al Jazeera, but they recently had that big story about the doping with Peyton Manning and a couple other stories, and I saw a ton of sports writers write the story off immediately because it came from a source like Al Jazeera, which certainly has its problems, but journalistically, I think that they were doing a lot of good things.
All right, so they were on the personal, not personal, in terms of our show, right? So you may remember, some of you, when of course we've been radio, and we're principally the morning radio show, but we have been simulcast first by TawkrTV, which was Al Gore's network, right? And I don't know, what was it, a year and a half or something with Current, right? That's when we started. That's where we started. And then suddenly we woke up one day to find out. I got a call from a friend of mine saying, "What's up with Al Jazeera?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "They're your new owner." And I said, "What?" That's the first I had heard that the rug had been pulled out from under us by Al Gore and Joel Hyatt, the two owners of TawkrTV, which they sold to Al Jazeera. And
for a pretty penny, by the way. Some might even argue more than it was worth.
Do you remember what it was?
I don't remember, but I remember being a lot.
No, it was huge. So $500 million.
I hear Sip. So look at Sip with the assist.
There you go. You could have bought it if you got the Powerball, and we're the only winner. At any rate, so then Al Jazeera, they're going to take over, and then the question is, how much of TawkrTV would they continue on Al Jazeera? And so I went up to New York and I sat down with the Al Jazeera people, and I said, because I had heard they definitely didn't want to do a 3-hour morning show. Okay, so I pitched them for a show in the evening, a 1-hour show that I would do from Washington kind of roundup every day. You know, there are shows like that. Of course, Chuck Todd has a show like that on MSNBC every day. And the guy said to me, this is a guy from Qatar, who is the head of Al Jazeera America, and he says, "No, your problem is you're too much like CNN. You only appeal to," he said this to me, "you only appeal to the 1% of Americans. We want to appeal to the 99% of Americans." To which, knowing that I wasn't going to get a job from him anyway, I said, "Then maybe you ought to change your damn name from Al Jazeera." Because 99% of Americans are not going to tune in to a station. I'm sorry. That name had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, it sucks to say that, but it's true.
It does, yeah. Well, I mean, in the age of Al-Qaeda and God knows what, right? I mean, the imagery is...
It's just not something... Look, they even said on their way out the door, right, that the American sort of media market didn't create a climate for them to exist.
They had another problem, which is the Al Jazeera parent network, the Arabic language network, is known for... They're the network that showed the Osama bin Laden videos.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. That was not his network, but they're the one that he gave the videos to, and journalistically... I've no problem with it. No. They showed the videos, but the fact, so that they have that kind of reputation. Anyhow, it's too bad. And for all of our friends at Al Jazeera, we just hope you can land on your feet somewhere else.
Yeah.
Susan Page with USA Today. They're still in business, by the way. And we'll talk to Susan about the news of the day when we come back.
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at Facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
This is why you took a second job. Why you taught yourself how to fix the plumbing. Why you'll do whatever it takes to keep your home. And that is why we want to help. We are making home affordable, a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. Call 888-995-HOPE today.
same time next week?
Well, of course.
Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Good mornings here in Washington, D.C. You see Susan Page as co-host of Capital Download on WUSA 9. And you can read Susan just about every day in USA Today, usatoday.com, where she is Washington bureau chief. We weren't sure we could find her this morning because we heard a rumor that Susan was just checking her Powerball tickets. Susan, are you the big winner?
We won the Powerball. We won $12 on a $40 investment. So it could be worse.
How do you know you got $12?
$12. Or else, I guess you could also say we're down $28. You could look at it.
There you go.
Okay, well, I spent 10 and I won 4, right? So
similar payoff. That's how they get us to come back.
Exactly. That's what it is, man. Can you the fever for the Powerball? You saw those lines out in California, Susan? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
I didn't stand in line. I gave some money to my son, and he bought the ticket.
There you go.
Oh, all right. There you go. Hey, so Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders is getting a little testy here, right?
Yeah, you'd think the race was getting close or something.
You might. Isn't this sort of echoes for you of 2008?
It is remarkable. I'm sure that's running through Hillary Clinton's mind as well. That she looked like it's in such a strong position, and suddenly this challenger is coming on in a way we didn't expect.
And Susan, so they're going to send an attack dog out against Bernie Sanders, and they get Chelsea Clinton to do it?
Isn't that a sign of how concerned they are?
Yeah.
Because she's never been used that way. She's rarely campaigned, and when she has, it's been with a totally positive message. Yes, I thought that was surprising, and maybe a sign that it's so complicated to use Bill Clinton.
Perhaps, or there are certainly other people, right? It doesn't have to be a member of the family. Everybody has surrogates. But I thought,
yes, true.
I thought Bernie's response yesterday, the stuff that he put out, where Hillary praises him basically for being the leading expert on health care in the country, right?
But it's a lesson you should save every scrap of paper, every nice letter, every signature on a photograph. Because who knows when you want to pull it out.
So the question is, though, if Bernie does win Iowa and New Hampshire, is that the end of the road for him, or can that catapult him beyond? What do you?
You mean if he wins both of them?
If he wins both.
Well, no, I think that's the beginning. The thing is, if he wins Iowa and New Hampshire, we've got a different kind of race because then he seems like then it is impossible to deny that he is a credible nominee, right? Of course he is. He won Iowa and New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. I think that, and of course, as you know so well, that creates a dynamic that you can't quite predict.
Right.
You can't say South Carolina won't change, or Nevada won't change, or Florida won't change.
And you can't control, right?
No.
I know the Clinton people are saying, well, yeah, but she's 40 points ahead in South Carolina. Well, yes, she was 40 points ahead in Iowa, too.
That's right. And if he wins both Iowa and New Hampshire, does that entice someone else to make a last-ditch effort?
You bet. You are singing my song right now. I have been saying Joe Biden gets in. If he wins both states, Joe Biden gets back in. Gets in.
If he wins both states, Joe Biden's going to wish he had gotten in.
Yeah, for sure.
And will he think that, yes, there is still a possibility?
Well, that's my prediction at any rate. I want to jump to the Republican side for a while because Ted Cruz wakes up this morning with a little problem about a Goldman Sachs loan, according to the New York Times, that he never reported.
Never reported on one set of forms, on his campaign forms. He did report on his Senate forms, so he's arguing that he did disclose them. But yes, this is not what you want to hear as you're heading into the, because Iowa is crucial for Cruz.
Yes.
Iowa's important for Hillary. Iowa's crucial for Cruz as well.
Yeah, and this is on top of the Canadian citizenship thing, which just won't go away.
And I think does have some effect. It's in a way it's a mischievous argument against Cruz, but I think it has a distracting effect on him at the point where he needs to really be driving home a message in winning in Iowa.
Well, yeah, he keeps talking about it, right? Because obviously it is having an impact. You can tell, right? He's still responding to that. Now he's got Boy, the debate tonight, Susan, those two issues, Ted Cruz had better be ready for them.
Maybe he'll be wearing an American flag all over his body. You know? Maybe
I want to show off my new tattoo.
Right.
Because won't you be watching to see what Trump in particular makes of it tonight? Because whatever you say about this big field, there are two guys on top of it, and that hasn't changed.
That's right. Yeah, and Donald Trump has already said this morning that there's no way Ted Cruz can keep running now after this. I mean, of course, Trump will go way overboard on anything. But I got to get to your interview with Paul Ryan post State of the Union. You know, I watched him during the State of the Union. What does it take to get applause out of Paul Ryan?
And he said he was determined to become the wallpaper in the interview I did with him yesterday. But he said that going through his mind was a rebuttal of the things that the president was saying on the issues on which they disagree. And he said something extraordinary, I thought, to me in the Capital Download interview yesterday. He said that President Obama degrades the presidency by giving a State of the Union address that was so political and so directed at the primary process of the other party. So the words that he said that were clearly targeted at Donald Trump, Speaker Ryan clearly took offense at.
Well, what about Nikki Haley's comments that were clearly targeted? She says they were directed at Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's true. Although I'm not a defender of Paul Ryan, but of course Nikki Haley, not the president of the United States, delivering the State of the Union, and also it's her own party.
Right.
And I think both of those things were his points.
But that is very, very strong language from
very
Paul,
strong.
from
Degrades
Paul
the
Ryan.
presidency. And he also said that President Obama's depiction of times as being pretty good in the United States, the economy, our military strength, he said that shows that the president is divorced from reality. So both these things, I thought, very strong words from a speaker that the White House has had some hopes of dealing with.
And the president went out of his way to praise in a couple of for the budget stuff and on the poverty stuff in the speech.
Yeah.
Didn't win him any points with Paul Ryan. All right, Susan, you're on top of it as always across the board. We thank you for your time this morning, and we'll look for you Sunday morning on Capital Download.
Hey,
it was so much fun being with you last week.
It was great to have you there. And next week, Powerball.
Yes.
Trying again.
That's right. Let's do it.
You bet. I'll be there.
Keep hope alive.
Glad I'm not the only one. Thanks, Susan. Susan Page, USAtoday.com.
Your progressive headquarters for the 2016 election. This is The Bill Press Show.
So you're drowning in student debt, and it looks like there's no way out. Have you considered bankruptcy? Of course not. It's a dirty word, and everything you've heard says students can't file anyway. It didn't start that way. Bankruptcy laws were enacted in the 19th century to give people a fresh start. But not all debt is created equal. Take this, for example. We have you, your buddy Carlos, and your grandma Lucy. Carlos got laid off. His credit card debt was too much to handle, so he filed for bankruptcy. It will totally screw his credit, but at least he can start fresh, and after 10 years, his credit report should be fine. Grandma Lucy's home lost half its value. Now her mortgage isn't worth paying back. She says F it and decides to file for bankruptcy too. Then there's you. You didn't land that dream job, you're struggling to make ends meet, but the interest just keeps piling up. With a broken heart, you've written off the possibility of buying a home, having kids, and getting married because, hello, who wants to deal with your crazy baggage? But in reality, you want those things, and your education was supposed to get you there. Now you need a fresh start, just what bankruptcy was intended for. You try to file, like Carlos and Grandma Lucy, and that's when you realize it's not as easy for you as it was for them. In the 70s, Congress worried that students were using bankruptcy to abuse loan programs. That wasn't quite true. Still, over the years, Congress gradually stripped student debtors of their options. The Bankruptcy Reform Act of 1978 was even called discriminatory toward students by the chairman of the subcommittee. Student debt was singled out and lumped with criminal debts. Today, if student debtors try filing for bankruptcy anyway, they'll need to prove their debt imposes an undue hardship. But who's to say what qualifies as an undue hardship? Even some judges have said they don't get it. This lack of clarity in the law could work in your favor. A Harvard researcher discovered in 2012 that few students actually try to discharge their loans through bankruptcy. Of the students who filed for bankruptcy to settle other debts, only 0.1% try the same tactic on their school debt. The craziest part? Just under half of them got their debts fully or partially discharged. In other words, you can file for bankruptcy on your student loans. Depending on your situation, it might just be a matter of trying. At least there's that.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds. At highway speeds, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop the texts, stop the wrecks.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Here we go. Keith Mestridge, president of Amalgamated Bank, in studio with us. Top of the next hour. Peter.
He has summoned the people to a political revolution. We believe such a revolution is not only necessary, but possible, and that's why we are endorsing Bernie Sanders for president. That is the word from The Nation magazine, who has formally endorsed Bernie Sanders in his bid for the White House. Very, very interesting.
First national publication.
This is the first national publication to endorse a candidate in this race. So,
all right, there you go. From The Nation, thenation.com. Of course, we'll be back with Keith.
This is the Bill Press Show.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
All right, guys, I want to take the last part of the day to change our focus and talk a little bit about water. There's rivers, there's lakes, there's huge oceans. You get thirsty, you just go and you get some water, right? We rely on rain for our water. We even rely on snow. But what if it doesn't rain? What if it doesn't snow? We have to get the word out about water conservation. I want you to tell your parents, your friends, your neighbors, how important it is to save water. It's up to you guys to save the planet. All right? What if it doesn't rain? What if it doesn't snow? We have to get the word out about water conservation. It's up to you guys to save the planet.
Hi, I'm Mark LaFleur, and I produced the short film you just watched called Aquaforce. California is experiencing one of the worst droughts it's ever had, and now, more than ever, it's important for everyone to do their part to help conserve water. The reason I made this film is because I wanted to make something fun and informative that would get people talking about the California drought. Obviously, this is an important issue because we have a limited amount of clean drinking water. I think it was very important to let people know, especially young people, that this is an important resource, maybe our most important resource, and it's something that we can't take for granted and we certainly can't waste. I really wanted this to be something that children would respond to. The kind of thing that any kid anywhere in the world, no matter what language they speak, could understand the story and be entertained by it and leave it knowing that this is something important, that if they didn't already know about this, that it's now going to be a part of the way that they think about water, the way that they live life, and that it's something that they'll share with their friends. The fact that they watch this video once or twice and they immediately understand that water is important, that's it. That was the whole point of this thing, to get it into the conversation, to make it something that kids are thinking about, talking about, that they're aware of, and that they know is important. This project was self-funded, so we relied on the support of our community to make it happen. It was pretty amazing to just have our neighbors, our friends, and our coworkers come together and volunteer their time and their homes and their kids to make this thing happen. Thanks for checking out the video. Keep the Aquaforce going, and thanks for watching Free Speech TV.
Around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
10 more prisoners will be released from Guantanamo Bay today. That gets the population down below 100. No excuse anymore. Close that puppy. Get rid of that gitmo. Hello, everybody. What do you say? It's Thursday, January 14. So good to see you today here on the Bill Press Show. We're here in Washington, D.C., but we are there with you everywhere in this great land of ours, on the radio and on television. On the radio, on your local progressive talk radio station, or one of those two great radio apps you can get on your electronic device, either TuneIn or iHeartRadio. And we're there with you on television on Free Speech TV. If you got a satellite dish, you find us on DirecTV. Good to see you, whether you're listening or watching. Thanks for joining us. And jump into the conversation. Give us a call at 866-55-PRESS. Send us your comments on Twitter at BP Show, or on Facebook at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. And if you were one of those big Powerball winners last night, you need a good lawyer and you need a good banker, a good safe place to put your money. We got it for you. Amalgamated Bank's president and CEO Keith Mestrich joining us in studio this morning. Hello, Keith.
Good morning.
Happy New Year. Good to see you.
Happy New Year, Bill.
Everything good?
Everything's doing okay.
All right. Yeah. A lot of money talk today.
A lot of money talk, but here's my Powerball tickets, and I didn't match a single number. So I'm not in here to tell you I'm the big winner.
Well, Keith, I've got the Powerball, which is number 10. So am I better managing my money than you are? I don't know.
I'm going to send the people over to open a bank account for you this morning. So,
by the way, out of the 4 of us on staff that bought Powerball tickets, 3 of us got the actual Powerball.
No.
Didn't it? Yeah.
So we're all going to buy an island, a very tiny island.
What do you get if you match the Powerball?
$4.
$4. There you go.
That's
$4.
it.
$4. 4 by 12.
That's
12.
all you need.
Yeah, 12. You know what, though? Here's what it is. It's pretty clear that there's a lot of people out there with big dreams and big wishes, but you know, nobody ever talks about how do we actually figure out what's our public policy solution to actually deal with people who are really trying to do it.
Yeah.
This is not it, right? The Powerball is not what it is. It really heightens that we really have to have some better ways to take care of people who are in some economic trouble.
That's a good point.
Boy,
it's a really good point.
Peter, so speaking of our team of Powerball buyers here, Peter Ogburn, we'll skip over Jamie Benson because he didn't buy any Powerball tickets, right? He's
Can't win if you don't play.
That's right. Ray Rogers on phone. She was in for, I think, 5 or 6 tickets. I don't know how many. And Cyprian was in for 5, like I was, our videographer. So we had the We have the whole team here. President Obama, after a very powerful State of the Union address, out to Omaha, Nebraska yesterday, where, Keith, his message to the students out there was basically from where he started with the State of the Union. We've had some great challenges before in this country, and we did some great things, and we can keep that spirit going and achieve some great things in the future. Here's the president.
I want everybody to remember America's been through big changes before. And each time we overcame our fears and we overcame our challenges. Each time we made change work for us. And each time we emerged stronger and better than we were before.
That spirit, right? That American spirit that he invoked. A very powerful message, I think.
Hey, look, that State of the Union, that was one great speech. And it was the appropriate victory lap for this president to make. Where we were when he took office, after we'd come out of the depths of the biggest economic crisis that we'd had in 80 years. And where are we now? I mean, we've recovered the jobs. Family wealth is back up to where it was before this. We're the only bright spot in the entire world economy right now, doing a bunch of things. We have kind of come through it, but I think we're now on the verge of other challenges, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and the president was saying, so let's move into them, right, with full of confidence and full of that American spirit, and not this rejecting this attitude of, oh, things are so bad and they're worse than they've ever been.
Yeah, good for the president, but here's what we didn't do during that time. We just went through 8 years where the federal government could have borrowed money at 0% interest rates. And think of what we could have done. Think of what we could have done if we had had put significant resources into a real stimulus plan, recovered the economy a lot quicker. We've done a lot of good things, but we could have really done a lot in terms of replacing infrastructure, building new things, the kinds of things that Eisenhower did when he built the interstate highway system, that Roosevelt did when he built the national park system, and the WPA. We kind of blew that. Government can be a force of good. We shouldn't forget that, and it is time to think about doing big things again.
Yeah, and we got another opportunity to coming up here. So Keith with us for this first half hour. Then we'll be joined by Ben Wickler, who's the Washington director of MoveOn.org at the half. But first, Peter.
This is the Full Court Press.
Big stories of the day.
Oh, yeah, all the big stories. We're talking about Powerball. Here are the numbers: 8, 27, 34.
Check them again.
4. Yeah, they don't change.
Yeah.
4, 19, and the Powerball was 10, which means there were 3 winning tickets last night in the $1.5 billion Powerball drawing. One of them in Chino Hills near Los Angeles, California. 2 others in Tennessee, one in Tennessee and one in Florida. So they will split the $1.5 billion. When it all comes down to after taxes and after they split it the 3 different ways, it's going to come out to be almost $188 million per winner. Which
that's a good take home.
Hardly worth it, guys. Am I right? I mean, come on. What's the point? That's not a lot of money. So congratulations to those 3 winners. Congratulations also to Ted Cruz. He got the big endorsement, the coveted endorsement of the Robertson family of Duck Dynasty fame.
Oh, my God.
Now,
There you go. I can see that.
I got to tell you something. I've tweeted out the video at BP Show. You must go see the video.
It's incredible.
It really is nuts.
We have audio of it, actually.
Oh, good. Well, what it is Phil Robertson, sort of the head guy of the Robertson family, he's in camouflage and face paint. And he says, my qualifications for President of the United States are rather narrow. Is he or she godly? Does he or she love us? Can he or she do the job? And finally, would they kill a duck and put him in a pot and make a good duck gumbo? Ted Cruz fits that bill.
There you go.
Bernie gets the nation, the 100-year-old August finance thing, and Cruz gets the duck guy.
If nothing else, it's worth going to watch the video because Ted Cruz, they filmed this endorsement. Ted Cruz has got face paint on, and he's out in the field with a gun, and they're looking for ducks to shoot. It's like, it's a lot. How about some good news? Liberia this morning declared that they are Ebola-free. No more Ebola at all in Liberia, and that ends the Ebola outbreak in all of West Africa. Remember, not that long ago, it was sweeping the world, right, of Ebola and what we were going to do. how we were going to handle it. It's been 42 days without a new case in Liberia. It joins Guinea and Sierra Leone, which earned the status of Ebola-free last year. But again, the World Health Organization warns West Africa to keep an eye out for flare-ups. But just to put this into perspective, Ebola has killed more than 11,000 people since December of 2013.
Tragedy, but let's not forget how the Republicans used that in that last election to manipulate public opinion and change some of that outcome, too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That is good news. Thank you, Peter. Keith, I want to start with just a little clip from the President's State of the Union, which we already referenced here Tuesday night, right at the very top, talking about the state of the economy. Here's President Obama.
The United States of America, right now, has the strongest, most durable economy in the world.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's the only place in the world that's doing anything decent right now. Jobs are up, demand is up. Some stress in the economy, though. I mean, manufacturing numbers yesterday that came out were a little shaky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where we need to sell those our goods as exports, and you got to have powerful economies in other places to do it. There's nowhere in the world for people to invest anymore. China's really in a really terrible place that's impacting a lot of other economies around the world.
Right.
That pressure from outside the world could end up coming home to roost here, and I think that's what you're seeing in the stock market this week and last week.
Mm-hmm. But this certainly what the president is saying is not what we're hearing from Paul Ryan, or not what we're hearing certainly from any of the other on the Republican side. If you listen to them, we're in the worst economic situation we've ever been in.
Yeah,
right?
it's just not true. We're not. I mean, one of the things that we look at in our industry, in the banking industry, is are people coming in wanting to make loans, wanting to borrow money from us, and they are, and that's probably at a better place than it's been in many years now. So that's a real indicator on a very micro level that the economy is actually in good shape.
Right. Is another indicator the job numbers that came out last week for December?
Yeah, I think people were expecting 230,000 jobs created in the month of December. We got almost 300,000. That was a big number. That's even at a time when you usually see some seasonal employment going back the other way. So those were big numbers, and it means that there's a lot of demand out there. People are going back to work.
What's it gonna take for people to actually say? Because we talked to Susan Page last hour, who said she sat down with Paul Ryan, and Paul Ryan says, when you look at the job numbers in this country, when the president talks about all the success we've had, it seems like he's so out of touch. What's it going to take for people to recognize and see that when you look at the last job numbers report of 2015, and it's been nothing but, I should say, steady job growth?
Unemployment down at 5%. Most economists would say that's structural full employment. Look, we have underemployment. We all know it. There's still pressure on wages that we have to deal with. But the Republican Party is not unabashed about lying about everything. Yeah. And they are just lying to the American economy. But let's be real. What they have tapped into in a very, very masterful way is people's economic anxieties in a whole bunch of ways. Mm-hmm. And they've done it with sort of white men in particular, and they have tapped into that need that there is wage pressure and some other things, and created a picture, right, that the Democrats and the current administration don't know what they're doing, when the facts really are quite to the contrary.
Right. Now, today, you alluded to Wall Street just a little bit earlier. I want to get into that with you. But today, reports for the big banks come out, bank earnings for...
Banks are going to report big banks report their earnings today and tomorrow.
What do you expect? What do you hear?
If everything is true in terms of what happened earlier in the year, each of them will report that they made about $5 billion in the quarter, right? Those are extraordinary numbers. I have no reason to believe that the big banks won't report those kind of numbers again, today and tomorrow.
And is that, yeah, I'm reminded last night, CBS News, Chris Van Cleve on CBS News did a story about the airlines, which are making record profits right now. But isn't it curious that airline fares have not gone down?
In fact, they're going to go up.
Yes,
right,
that's
they're
right.
going to start to go up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm looking at the parallel here for the banking industry. If they're going to report these kinds of earnings, how are consumers? Is any of that going to be passed on to consumers, and how do we benefit from that?
Sure. So the Fed raised interest
rates.
Employees. Well, let's talk about both. The Fed's raised interest rates last month. a little bit. You haven't seen a whole lot of increase in what people are being paid on deposit insurance, and we watch it pretty closely. And very, very few banks have passed any of that on to their consumers. And let's talk about employees, right? I've said it before when I've been on the show here. The average wage for a bank teller in this country is $12 an hour. That's the average. That means a bunch of them are making less than that.
Yeah.
In an industry where the big four players who have an oligopolistic position in this industry are going to report each $5 billion in earnings. Let's share the wealth a little bit, right? Now, I don't mean buying people Powerball tickets. Let's actually put something into the real wages of workers. Let's raise the minimum wage in the banking industry and be leaders in the fight for 15.
Yeah, I mean, they could certainly now, I mean, there's no doubt, right? They can afford it. They can't plead hard times.
No
industry
in the country that can afford it better than the banking industry.
What impact is the increase in interest rates having on consumer loans, whether home mortgages or small business loans or whatever?
Hard to tell. Not a whole lot yet.
Not yet. Because the increase was so small.
The increase was pretty small. We haven't seen in the markets the rates on residential mortgages have bumped a little around, but there's not been any significant movement. The impact was really more on commercial loans that are tied to LIBOR or are tied to a floating rate, and so those interest rates went up on those loans. Mm-hmm. I don't think we've seen a lot in the consumer market yet. And I think, the impact now of the stock market, even though it really is not an indicator of anything truly going on in the economy, probably makes the ability for the Fed to raise interest rates any more in the short term much more difficult.
Right, really. Okay. Yeah. Powerball, not the best investment, so let's invest in something that's really, really solid and never wavers, and that is the stock market. Well, that's not the conclusion you would reach. This week, we'll talk more about that with Keith Mestridge, president of Amalgamated Bank, amalgamatedbank.com. You have a question or a comment for your friendly progressive banker? Here he is, 866-55-PRESS.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
I have run these canyons for 6 million years. I have traveled from the Rocky Mountains to the deserts, through scorching heat and freezing cold, from the land of the dinosaurs to fields of food.
I lend my hand to 7 states, 2 countries, 9 national parks,
and 36 million people across an arid West.
I am not the strongest or the largest, but I am the hardest working.
People love me.
My playfulness,
my beauty,
my power,
my life. But I don't think I can offer any more.
I am tired.
I am tired,
tapped,
and tied. Of the hundreds of major rivers in the world, I am one of the few who no longer kisses the sea,
battles to harness my soul have been won and lost. Use me wisely, and I will sustain you.
Use me like you have, and I will break. My name is Red. The Grand River Red. The American Nile.
The Canyon Maker. I am the Colorado River.
And I am the most endangered river in America.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
This is the Bill Press Show.
So here we go at 25 minutes after the hour with Keith Mestrich here from Amalgamated Bank, amalgamatedbank.com. As I told you before, around for almost 100 years now, right?
94.
94, really?
94 years.
Wow. Man, we're getting ready for that great big centennial celebration.
Our first depositor is still around. Our first depositor is Sidney Hillman's daughter. And she is still alive. She's still a depositor in the bank. She comes by once a year to check in on the bank that her father started and make sure we're doing the right thing.
How about that?
I love that so much. That's so great.
That is a family bank. And was he head of the Amalgamated Clothing?
Head of the Amalgamated Clothing Workers out of Chicago. Really a visionary trade unionist. I mean, not just figuring out how to build a union, but really build a real community in New York and Chicago. Built tons of affordable housing, health clinics, insurance company, and the first bank for working people. Really extraordinary human being.
Which is the progressive history or legacy of Amalgamated, which you've continued now dealing with a lot of progressive organizations and unions, right?
Absolutely. We really have become the go-to bank, not just for the trade union community, but for progressive advocacy groups, the Democratic Party, progressive philanthropy. That's the core book of our business.
Banking and progressive values at the same time, a great, if unusual, combination. So what's up with the market today? I mean, we've had a pretty rocky 2 weeks here.
Yeah, we have.
Something to be worried about?
Well, if I put on my investor cap, right, and it's buy and hold, stay for the long haul, there's still, like we were talking earlier, the American economy is still probably the safest investment that you can make on global markets. But the economy's cratering in China. It's a lot of demand. Price of oil is going to be, it's right around $30, right? Yeah. And demand for a lot of other commodities. There's pressure. And I think a lot of people are looking at trying to read the tea leaves and figure out what that all means.
I got to tell you, at a time like this, my reaction is I don't even want to look at my 401k, right? Which is probably the right thing to do. Because it is only one indicator overall of the economy.
It really is, and it's you got to remember the stock market is a measure of the overall valuation of companies. There are much more important economic indicators: jobs, inflation, consumer demand, producer prices. I mean, those are the things that we have to look at. Remember, inflation's still very low. People are at work. People are doing things. But here's the danger thing that we got to watch out for. What's the first thing that happens when stock valuations and market valuations start going down? Companies start laying off workers. And they lay off workers a lot faster than they bring them back. And if I got any worry about where we are, it's probably that.
Yeah, and they still haven't brought back a lot of the workers that lost their jobs in 2008.
No.
So, all right, Keith, we're off to a good start in this new year with as the president pointed out the other night, So good of you to come in today. Thanks
Good to
for all
see
you're
you
doing.
guys.
All right. Better luck on the next Powerball.
Thanks.
Remember, it's amalgamatedbank.com.
This is the Bill Press Show.
So this is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. If I say dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you come.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
He's not running for president, but he will shake hands and kiss babies. It's the Bill Press Show, your progressive headquarters for the 2016 election.
You bet. At 33 minutes after the hour now, here we go. The Bill Press Show, live from Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, our studio right here on Capitol Hill. where we're brought to you today by the American Federation of Government Employees, the good men and women of the AFGE under President J. David Cox. Proud to work for America every day. You bet. Doing great work, keeping those government agencies going. Find out more about all the different agencies and the people who man them, I should say, I guess, at afge.org. Well, in the interest of fair play, yesterday, the Brady campaign endorsed, the day before, endorsed Hillary Clinton for president in the Democratic primary. And we spoke yesterday with Dane Gross, the president of the Brady campaign. Yesterday, MoveOn.org endorsed Bernie Sanders in the Democratic primary. And we welcome to the studio today, therefore, Ben Wickler, who is the Washington director of MoveOn.org. Hello, Ben.
Great to be here.
Good to see you. And I might add that, as Peter reported a little bit earlier, today, The Nation magazine has endorsed Bernie Sanders for president as well. So how long before Elizabeth Warren does?
Well, that's a great question. We can see dominoes falling, and who knows whether Senator Warren is a domino. But I can tell you she's talking to both camps, and one of the things we're seeing in the response to Sanders' campaign is similar to the response to Elizabeth Warren. It's an incredible hunger and thirst for progressive, common sense, middle-class, working people-focused economics, for politicians who will fight against billionaires and actually stand up for something. And that's, I think, reflected both in the Warren movement and in the Sanders movement, and it's the direction the country's going.
It's an interesting thing to watch because for so long we've seen several people come out and endorse Hillary Clinton, right? Like that's nothing new necessarily. But I think Bernie Sanders hasn't had that kind of endorsement power. And that's changed. I think that is changing. People are able to do it.
Even now, the people that you see endorsing Hillary are like celebrities or office holders right? And where Bernie's campaign, the endorsements, Bernie's had very few members of Congress, for example, right? He doesn't have one United States senator.
Yeah.
Not one. Where Hillary's got a couple of dozen, probably, or at least a dozen over. Where Bernie's campaign is getting support among people who belong to MoveOn.org. How many members do you have?
So MoveOn has 8 million members across the country. And I should note specifically we have 43,000 members in Iowa and 30,000 members in New Hampshire.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. and now, I have to say, I don't know how I would compare you to other organizations, but my wife, Carol, is a member of MoveOn.org. And, I know. You pepper your members, and they are probably the most active political people in the country.
Yeah, it's a gathering place for grassroots progressives who want to be involved in politics and make a difference. We're the largest online, progressive group in the nation, and we have regularly hundreds of thousands of people getting involved in any particular campaign. So in this case, we sent out word. We had a limited time frame for people to vote. It was open.
So how did you decide to tell us about that, to endorse Bernie?
So we only endorse when our members vote to endorse. And in this case, we wanted to make sure that there was a strong mandate if we were going to endorse. So we set the bar at 66.67%. You had to have 2/3 plus one of the MoveOn, the members who voting for you to get our endorsement. And I should say, in 2004, we had an endorsement vote. And Howard Dean was the leading candidate, but he had like 43%. It was divided. So we didn't endorse in 2004 in the primary. In 2008, Barack Obama got a commanding majority. He had 70%. So we did endorse in the Obama campaign. And our members, after the campaign was over, we polled, we looked through all our records. We found that 1 million MoveOn members had volunteered for Obama.
Whoa.
And they'd raised $88 million for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's astounding.
To put that in perspective, the Obama campaign overall in 2008 had about 4.5 million volunteers.
So 25%, almost.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, now for Bernie, what did he come up with?
So for Bernie, he had to clear 66.7%. He got 79%. It was a landslide. We had more votes cast than ever before, and we had a bigger majority than ever before in a presidential endorsement vote. So this was a record-shattering on two fronts for us.
This is really interesting because, we hear all the time, when the Time Person of the Year was the thing last year. People talked about how many people voted for Bernie Sanders, but he didn't make it onto the final list of because
they didn't put him on the
because
list.
they didn't put him on there.
He got enough votes.
But he got enough. He's definitely got enough votes. So people are there for the support. That's really interesting.
So this is real. So if there's any, I guess I'm thinking Iowa caucuses, like you got your 43,000 people. If there's any doubt that Bernie's people will show up at the caucuses.
But yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, there's no doubt. It's the opposite of what you see with discussion about Trump. Trump's voters are often people who've never voted before. It's not clear whether they'll show up. Maybe they're coming out for his celebrity value. For Sanders, these are people who not only are, I'm pretty confident, are going to show up on Election Day, they're showing up every day before then. You know, the Move On endorsement vote is only open to existing Move On members. So it's not something where you can like pack the polls with people who are signing up to vote.
So Bernie could not say, hey, everybody sign up for MoveOn.org so you can vote for me, right?
That's right.
The campaign couldn't do that.
There was a moment when we announced we were about to have the vote when people, I guess in theory, could vote, but we didn't see some huge surge of new members at that moment. What we saw was existing Move On members getting organized among themselves and making sure everyone clicked those links and registered their vote. This is like a really impressive level of energy, of motivation. And that's what counts in a primary.
What comes with this endorsement?
So the main thing that comes with this endorsement right away is a huge effort to turn out every Move On member in the Iowa caucuses and the New Hampshire primary. Those states are key, and there are, again, 43,000 Move On members in Iowa. 43,000 members can make a significant difference in an Iowa caucus.
Boy, I'll say. Right?
Yeah.
In a small state like that, if you had 43,000, even if you had 22,000, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So that means like calling parties outside of Iowa to call Move On members inside of Iowa and make sure they know about the endorsement, they know exactly how to caucus, and then a big effort inside of Iowa to make sure that everyone's organized and knows exactly how and when to go to the caucuses to make their voices heard.
How about raising money?
We're actually... you should check your inbox today because I think we're having probably our first message from Senator Sanders to our membership raising funds for the campaign is coming out in the next day or two.
And again, these will be like most of his donations. We're talking grassroots, small
Absolutely.
donations.
Small donations. My favorite thing about the Sanders campaign is that they don't have a finance department. So every political campaign normally has like their digital team that sends email for fundraising, and they have their field team, their comms team, and then they have the team with the real power is the finance team.
Well, the finance director of a campaign is usually the most important person.
Exactly. And that person controls a huge chunk of the candidate's time because they get the candidate on the phone with donors. They get the candidate in the room with donors. There is no finance director in the Sanders campaign.
Yeah, right.
It's just astonishing.
Isn't that wild?
It's wild. And it means that the candidate is not giving preferential access to wealthy people who can write big checks. And that is just unheard of in presidential politics.
It's all just online?
It's online, small dollar grassroots donations. That's the only fundraising program they have.
And the campaign reported this morning, I think it's $1.5 million that they've raised in the last 24 hours in response to the Clinton attacks against him on health care.
Yep.
Particularly by Chelsea Clinton.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, yesterday, speaking with Dan Gross, I quizzed him, okay, why, these are two, you'd have to admit, two great people, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, why Hillary over Bernie? And his response, I'm paraphrasing, was that they're a single issue organization, and they believe on their issue, Hillary is better than Bernie. Why, for MoveOn.org and your members, is it Bernie over Hillary?
Well, MoveOn.org is a multi-issue organization. But I can tell you, this vote, which came from our membership, not from a staff making a decision, our members have shown us time and again that they're motivated by money in politics, the corrupting power of super wealthy contributors to distort political outcomes. They are concerned about climate change. They're concerned about economic inequality, and they're concerned about racial and social justice. And this is a list of issues where Sanders is mounting just an extraordinary assault on conventional wisdom. You know, he's talking about things like expanding Social Security that have gigantic support in both parties, in the public, in the grassroots, and almost no support in Washington, D.C., because they're just totally out of favor with the people who write the biggest checks and hold the biggest fundraisers. So for Move On members, Sanders is like, saying the kinds of things that they say to each other and they never hear reflected back at them on C-SPAN or from Washington, except when Sanders is on TV or Warren or a handful of other people. And that's just a qualitative difference in politics. Hearing things that are supposed to be beyond the pale according to conventional wisdom, but are actually really popular with most of the public. It's just an unusual, extraordinary thing. I think that's where this energy is coming from.
And he's been saying them a long time.
His life has been built on saying that. This is what his entire career is about. There's no question about why he's in this fight. There's no question about what he stands for. This is crystal clear. And what people are doing is raising their hands and saying, yeah, I believe in that too. That sends a message, no matter what happens with this primary, it sends an extraordinary message about where the center of gravity really is in American politics.
And I think that longevity, if you will, of Bernie's commitment to these issues was reflected in Vice President Joe Biden's comment this morning, this week rather, which got a lot of attention, where he said, was talking about Hillary, that Hillary she's very supportive of doing something about income inequality, but he said, but it's rather new to her. Right?
Yeah, that was a little backhanded. Maybe a lot backhanded.
Yeah. And when you think pity people critical of Wall Street, willing to take them on, even to go to Wall Street and take them on, it's Bernie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there you go. MoveOn.org. 79% he got in the vote among MoveOn.org members. It is the man they wanted to endorse, and they have been. Wickler is here as the Washington director of MoveOn.org. All you MoveOn members out there or others with a question or a comment, 866-55-PRESS, and we'll be right back.
Get social with Bill Press. Like us at Facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
It is possible to read the history of this country as one long struggle to extend the liberties established in our Constitution to everyone in America. In other words, who, according to our laws and culture, gets to be considered a person? The law creates legal personhood, and movements create law and change culture. So, how have the courts passed laws to shape our culture? That history goes way back before Citizens United. 1819, Dartmouth College versus Woodward, Supreme Court case, turned a corporate charter from a government-granted charter to a contract. This ruling gave corporations standing within the Constitution. 1886, Santa Clara County versus Southern Pacific Railroad. Though the court did not rule on corporate personhood, the decision was subsequently cited as a precedent to hold that a private corporation is entitled to the same 14th Amendment rights of due process and equal protection as human beings. This makes it impossible for us to make laws that treat local businesses any differently than giant multinational corporations, even if their business practices are deemed to be harmful to workers, the environment, and communities, or if they have a history of violating the law. Hale versus Henkel, 1906. The court granted corporations the Fourth Amendment search and seizure protection. Dodge versus Ford Motor Company, 1919. The Michigan Supreme Court says the business corporation is organized and carried on primarily for the profit of the stockholders. Stockholder primacy is established. The purpose of the corporation, according to the court, is no longer to serve the public good, as it had been. It is now to maximize profit for shareholders above all else. Pennsylvania Coal Company versus Mahon, 1922. Corporations get the Fifth Amendment takings clause, meaning if you pass a regulation that impacts a corporation's ability to make a profit, that is deemed a taking, and they can sue for the right to future profits lost. This creates a chilling effect, and local and state governments become much more hesitant to pass laws in the public interest for fear that corporations can claim loss of potential profits that cities and states will be on the hook to pay. Buckley versus Vallejo, 1976. The Supreme Court rules that spending money to influence elections is protected under the First Amendment, in effect saying that money is speech. Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission, 2010.
Today, the Supreme Court of Chief Justice John Roberts declared that because of the alchemy of its 19th century predecessors in deciding that corporations had all the rights of people, any restrictions on how these corporate beings spend their money on political advertising are unconstitutional.
The court's ruling threatens to undermine the integrity of elected institutions across the nation. It's a rejection of the common sense of the American people.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
Okay, at 12 minutes now before the top of the hour, Chris Moody from CNN Politics here is a friend of Bill for the next hour. And then a very special guest, a young basketball star. You may know him. He's the creator of I Love Basketball TV. Coach Rock, he's known in the trade. He'll be here to tell us what he's up to. Right now, we're talking Democratic Party politics, Democratic primary politics, with a huge endorsement by MoveOn.org for Senator Bernie Sanders yesterday, and Ben Wickler, who runs the Washington office of MoveOn.org, here in studio with us. Your first move here was to try to convince Elizabeth Warren to run.
That's right. So let's go back in our time machine to December of 2014. Is that right? No. Is that right?
Yes.
2014. Man,
yes.
It feels like a long time ago.
I know. Right.
Oof. All right.
We got started too damn early in this race.
Yeah, we really did. Well, at that time, there was this interesting thing. The Clinton campaign, advisors had been saying to reporters that it was unclear. I think they were saying she was going to run against Washington gridlock. That was going to be the theme of her campaign, which is basically like saying, I'm going to run as a David Broder bipartisan,
let's
rise above the fray kind of person, as opposed to a progressive fighter or what have you. And MoveOn members, we were polling, and what we were finding among our membership is that they didn't have a favorite candidate in the race. They felt like it was too early. But the idea of Elizabeth Warren running set them on fire. There was just an extraordinary response. And Elizabeth Warren was such a kind of magnetic center for progressive politics. This is an anecdote that still blows my mind. In 2012, when she was running for Senate, if we wanted to raise money for a Democratic senator with an email, other than Elizabeth Warren, for a Senate candidate, the best way to do it was to have a message from Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, no kidding, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, it was like she was
the ticket.
She was the ticket. So MoveOn launched. We asked our members, and we launched a campaign called Run Warren Run, asking her.
Oh, I remember well.
Yeah.
And look behind you there.
There we go. I'm from the Elizabeth Warren wing of the Democratic Party, right there behind me. And tons of people got involved. We wound up actually hiring whole field teams in Iowa and New Hampshire to build the first field campaigns, grassroots campaigns for her. And she started going up in the polls, but she kept not running for president. So, it wound up being this thing where the national discussion, we felt like the national discussion moved rapidly towards her in terms of the agenda that both parties were confronting. There was this period of time, it's hard to remember now, when all the Republican campaigns were talking about inequality.
Yes.
You remember that?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
No.
Rubio, Bush.
Yeah. That
was before the Trump era. But even when Trump
Exactly.
launched, he was actually talking about inequality a lot more than he does
going
now.
to raise taxes on the millionaires and billionaires, right?
Absolutely. So there was this moment when Warren really, I think in part thanks to the demonstrated.
When did you finally give up on her?
I think it was a week or two after Sanders launched his campaign, and she had, just declined. Then at that point, we could sort of feel the energy in the grassroots shifting. So at that point, we put it on hold. And I have to say, the Sanders campaign wound up hiring a whole bunch of the field staff that we had organized in Iowa and New Hampshire. So there was a sense in which a bunch of the team wound up moving from the Draft Warren movement directly into Sanders' campaign.
Two questions. Do you think she regrets not running now, given how well Bernie is doing? And if Bernie were to win Iowa and New Hampshire, do you think she might? I saw a story this morning saying people are saying it's not too late, Elizabeth.
I can't speak for what is happening inside her mind or her world. I think she's incredibly brilliant person and has her own reasons for making the decisions that she did. And I think for anyone to run for president is an extraordinary thing. So I respect whatever led to her coming down where she did.
What is your answer to what I hear from a lot of, let's say, establishment Democrats, right? Good people who their primary goal is to keep the White House they want to get the Senate too, keep the White House in Democratic hands, who say across the board, Bernie could never win a national election.
First of all, I think all progressives would share the goal of keeping the White House. So everyone's on the same page on that.
Right.
The second thing is, that group of people just has been wrong over and over about Sanders. And at this point, they don't have a lot of credibility left in the Sanders prognostication department or the Trump prognostication department or the whether this will be a contested primary prognostication department. I mean, all of these assumptions that came in this year to this presidential race have been completely dashed. This was supposed to be
proven wrong.
Then in all the political science literature that, said the party decides this is going to be a Clinton versus Bush contest, it just hasn't actually happened that way. So I don't actually put a lot of stock in that kind of information. I think, poll objective measures of grassroots support are probably the best thermometer that we have. And one thing that I have to say I've been really impressed by is how Sanders fares in national matchups against the possible Republican nominees. This is not, what anyone in D.C. would have predicted a year ago.
No, he does very well, and in some cases he did better than Hillary against Trump and against Cruz. Very, very exciting times, and you're right in the thick of it with Move On. I have to tell you the website. That's who they are, moveon.org. Ben Wickler. All right, the Bernie operation is off and running. Huge news. Thanks so much, Ben, for coming in.
Thanks for having me, and folks, join us.
All right, yes, join up at moveon.org.
Follow us on Twitter at BP Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
Two hours, never enough. We got a third hour coming up, and we need that third hour to get into a lot of the important issues of the day. Chris Moody will be here from CNN the entire hour as a friend of Bill, and then we'll be joined by a young man who is making a big impression and a big hit, a big star on YouTube, Coach Rock. So don't forget, 5 o'clock Eastern on Free Speech TV, 4 Central, 2 Pacific to watch that third hour. But you can watch it right away on TawkrTV, our video stream, youtube.com/TawkrTV. Hour number 3 coming up.
A few years ago, plastic bag waste in our city came to a tipping point. It was clear we had a bag problem. My department was tasked to reduce plastic bag consumption. We needed to come up with ways to change human behavior. So we asked ourselves,
would you like a bag?
What do people really hate?
Yep.
Getting punched in the stomach. Preliminary studies showed that the consequences weren't severe enough to warrant behavioral change.
Actually, can I get that double bagged?
So we thought, what do people hate more than getting punched in the stomach? Kissing Helga.
Hey, big boy.
People didn't find her so offensive after all, so we had to get creative.
How many bags? Okay, now pour this ice water down your pants.
We tried everything.
Eat this rat. Defuse this bomb.
Even fighting your clone. After blowing through millions of dollars of government funds on research, I came up with a brilliant idea.
Why don't we just charge 5 cents per bag?
That's a stupid idea.
Would you like a bag?
Yes.
5 cents a bag.
5 cents? 5 cents? Do I still have the option of getting punched?
Honestly, I don't know how everyone else missed it.
Why don't you just get a reusable bag?
Ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is the Bill Press Show.
And this is day 2 of President Obama's barnstorming tour here. after the State of the Union. Yesterday in Omaha, Nebraska. Today in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where the president will hold a town hall meeting at McKinley Senior High School and then do a Q&A on Twitter before he heads back up here to Washington, D.C. in the next hour. Chris Moody here from CNN as a friend of Bill for the entire hour. We'll take a look at both sides in the 2016 primary. Then we'll be joined also by young baseball star of basketball of YouTube fame. Thank you, Rocky. Coach Rock, you know him as. Hour number 3 coming up.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Society, civilizations, in some sense, are like our bodies. If there's something systemically wrong, it's manifesting all over the place, in all our organs, and that seems to be what's going on in our world at the moment.
The system is failing all around us.
Our infrastructure is falling apart. Our jails are full and can't hold more people. Our young people are burdened with $1 trillion in student debt.
We're in a heap of trouble.
When the temperature of the earth is starting to rise, that's a very bad sign. Our earth is running a fever, and it's running it because it's sick in many ways.
In a country like the United States, the fact that anywhere from 45 to 50 million people are hungry, this is a problem.
We can't go on like this. We can't keep moving toward climate catastrophe, nuclear war, persistence of inequality, poverty, famine.
There is a systems problem. These are not one-off issues. They are interconnected, and we have to look at the system as a whole.
It's time to talk about alternatives. It's time to talk about what's next.
We need to be aspirational and be clear about the vision of the world that we want.
What is the system that humanizes us? What is the system that opens up our imagination of possibilities of cooperation?
Nothing is more important right now than to discuss how can we bring about this change.
As systems fail, individual and community creativity explodes, and that's what we have seen. People in this country are solving the problems themselves. They're coming up with new models and strategies, and within those models and strategies are the kernels of a systemic way to move forward.
Land trusts, cooperatively owned businesses,
sustainable energy,
state-owned banks,
urban gardening, urban farming.
These small successes taken together are a proof of concept that this can happen on a larger scale.
We're compelled to search for alternatives, not just analytically, but in how we live and what we do, how we organize our daily lives. And that has tremendous potential.
Our actions and our imagination have to match the magnitude of this problem.
We have to get out of our comfort zone. We must think with courage.
All bets are off in terms of our previous thinking. Our ways of thinking about the economy and our ways of thinking about politics have proven an abject and utter failure. The good news is we have no choice but to adopt revolutionary thinking. I like that.
That's the exciting part about this moment. When there are no rules, then people have freedom to invent and to create new things.
I have no doubt that we can create a better America.
If the people who cared about these things really joined together to do something about them, anything is possible.
The biggest worry for me is that we don't try, is that we don't push for what we know is right, for what we know is possible.
It's time for everybody who cares about this country and the future of the planet to do something about it, to get involved.
We can actually do better. We can build a better system. It's not impossible. It's a very American thing to do, to build a new system.
It's a challenge. We can do it collectively, neighborhood by neighborhood, step by step.
I think that the world that we're on the verge of is a bright and beautiful and interesting one, complex, local, interconnected. I hope we get there.
time to talk about what's next. Please come and sign our statement at thenextsystem.org.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where the ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek, Newtown,
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more? How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls?
How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough. 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 Enough.
Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American. As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook. Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act. Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
10 more prisoners moved from Guantanamo Bay today. No excuse anymore. Time to close Gitmo. Hello, everybody. Thursday, January 14th. So good to see you today. Welcome. Welcome to The Bill Press Show. Here we are. With you, wherever you happen to be in this great land of ours. We're in Washington, D.C., our studio on Capitol Hill, but we are there with you in your car, at home with you, in your office, on your electronic device, on the radio, your local progressive talk radio station, and on Free Speech TV. And whether you're watching or listening, welcome to the program. Remember, the way to really become part of the program is to join in. Give us a call, 866-55-PRESS, our toll-free number. Send us your comments on Twitter at BP Show or on Facebook at facebook.com/BillPressShow. Here with me in Washington, we have lots to cover today because there's a lot on the political front. Both primaries are really tightening up now on the Democratic side and the Republican side. We'll talk about that right here at the top of the hour. President Obama on the road again today, down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with a big town hall meeting before he comes back to Washington. Good news in the Persian Gulf, where those 10 American sailors who had ventured into Iranian waters and were picked up. They were released yesterday. A coup, really, for John Kerry and his diplomacy, which has once again carried the day when it comes to Iran. A whole new day over there. So lots to get into, and we will with our team here, Peter Ogburn and Jamie Benson.
Bill, how are you, sir?
Yes, indeed. And we're all recovering from not winning the Powerball, too, I might.
Hey, there's a totally different way to spin this, buddy. We won the Powerball. You, me,
I won
and
the Powerball.
Sip.
Yeah, three of us, three
out
out of 4 people here who bought Powerball tickets got the Powerball. 10. Unfortunately,
you can brag about me not winning anything.
Well, you know what, here's the thing, though, and if we're being honest about this,
you know what, Jamie, if you don't have a ticket, right?
If we're being honest about this, you, me, Sip, we all won the Powerball, but we all still lost money. Right?
That's another way of looking
at it.
Look
who came out on top.
I'm just saying, so we all lost money.
You
Jamie didn't
come out
lose
on
any.
top, dude. You did not come out on top.
You missed 100% of the shots you don't take.
Jamie came out without losing money.
Ray Rogers, another Powerball player here, ready to take your calls at 866-55-PRESS, and Cyprian Balding. He's spending all morning trying to decide how he's going to spend his $4.
Yeah.
That's going to win. Yes, indeed. By the way, last hour, if you were here with us, Ben Wickler, the Washington director of MoveOn.org, talking about their big endorsement yesterday of Bernie Sanders. As Jimmy Fallon points out last night, Jeb Bush got a big endorsement yesterday, too.
Oh, dear.
That's right. Bernie's really picking up some momentum. In fact, yesterday he received an endorsement from the progressive website MoveOn.org, as opposed to Jeb Bush, who was endorsed by the website, no, seriously, MoveOn.org.
Oh, no.
Seriously, totally different website.
Oh, no.
It's a different message for Bernie and for Jeb, right?
Oh.
Bernie, move on. For Jeb, it's move on, dude.
Move on. Move along now.
Move on.
MoveAlongNow.org.
All right. Well, we'll get into, the Republican and the Democratic primaries, both of them tightening up. And then at the half hour, special guest, Rocky, you know him as Coach Rock from I Love Basketball TV. How about that for a change of pace? But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Just a couple of other stories making news. You know, we had the Golden Globes this past weekend, we are fully in the award season. My favorite awards, though?
Whoa. Powerball, there are 81 millionaires. 81 people got all the numbers except the Powerball.
That's amazing.
I would have settled for that.
Yeah, you'd take just the million? I would go for that. You know, of all the award shows, my favorite award show isn't the Oscars, it isn't Golden Globes. I really like the Razzies.
Oh, they're fun.
I love the Razzies. Well, we found out who some of the nominees are for the Razzie nominations. These are the worst movies that Hollywood put out in 2015. And here are a couple of the nominations.
Sorry.
You all right over there?
A lot of noise. I'm just trying to get my cocktail going.
Get that third-hour cocktail going? Leading the list of the worst movies of 2015 is The Fantastic Four. It picked up 5 nominations. 50 Shades of Grey, Jupiter Ascending, Pixels, and Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2. All of them were all tied with 4. So we will just have to see how this all plays out with the Razzie Awards. Kmart, it's in a lot of trouble, by the way, man. Really? Kmart, yes, it's owned by Sears Holdings Corporation. They announced yesterday that they are closing a number of stores across the United States. It's part of their annual review of which stores are performing and underperforming. When was the last time you have been in or even seen a Kmart?
I can't tell you.
Yeah,
but I have been in.
Long time.
It's been a really. I have too, but it's been a
when
really.
I think of Kmart, I think of Ames.
Yeah, there you go. Well, so Kmart is closing multiple locations in Hawaii, Indiana, Iowa, Ohio, Kansas, Florida, Georgia, Utah, and Arizona. That they are going to start liquidating these stores in a little over a week. So bad news there for Walmart.
Attention, Kmart shoppers.
Yeah, the Blue Light Special, man.
I know.
Shout out Blue Light Special. And in the ongoing saga of Chipotle.
Oh, no.
Yes, 2015 will not be a good year. Will not be remembered as a good year for Chipotle, but they're trying to bounce back. It has been a whole 23 days since an instance of E. coli has been found in a Chipotle, and so they are going to try and win back the public's favor. How? By giving away free food. They are going to be giving away certificates so that you could go in and get some free burritos so that you could go and see how safe they are to eat. So if you are willing to try...
Get some free gastrointestinal
I was going to say,
diseases.
It's called a casino burrito because it is a gamble as to whether or not you're going to... whether or not...
Can you imagine if they sold fish?
No! No! Like, I
stores would be closed, like, completely.
Yeah, completely. We have this thing.
Chipotle's got to come back. They're a good chain.
I like Chipotle. I am firmly in the
burrito
Chipotle
bowl,
camp. I think that they have horribly
They're having-
mishandled this.
They have.
And they got to come back.
Yeah.
But,
I
like,
want them to come
this
back.
is a problem. Free food is what they think is their solution.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, indeed. It's getting fun. I'm telling you, about 15 days now before the Iowa caucuses, and both sides are heating up, and mud is starting to be thrown. On the Republican side, Ted Cruz, who is cruising in Iowa to a point where it looks like he's going to win the caucuses. He's got a better ground operation. The respected Des Moines Register poll came out and showed him about 4 points up over Donald Trump. And again, his people are considered more likely to actually show up at the primaries, at the caucuses. But he is under now relentless attack on two fronts. The one that's been around for a week or so, but just won't go away, is the birther controversy. Ted Cruz says there's nothing to it. Look, my mommy was an American. And so what? If I was born in Canada, I've been an American citizen since I first drew breath, and this is not an issue. Just like John McCain, born in Panama, although he was born on a military base in Panama. However, there was a constitutional professor yesterday in the Washington Post. There have been two prominent ones so far who have said this idea of natural citizenship, just because your father or mother was an American, is not necessarily clear and hasn't been resolved. And what have to be resolved, which is Donald Trump's point, is somebody could sue Ted Cruz, claim he wasn't a real American, and tie him up for a couple of years, right? We would not know whether he was a legitimate president for a couple of years. So Trump keeps that issue alive. Now there's a new problem for Ted Cruz, which is the New York Times reports this morning that for Ted Cruz's famous, remember, hard scrapple grassroots campaign when I ran for the Senate? I didn't have any money. It was just a whole bunch of people, and we put our pennies together, and I won this Senate race, and it was just a miracle. Well, it turns out it wasn't. His wife at the time was working for Goldman Sachs, and thanks to her, reports the New York Times, Ted Cruz was able to get a great big fat $1 million loan from Goldman Sachs for his campaign, and then turned around and did not report it to the FEC.
Whoops.
Ted Cruz says, well, and so Donald Trump about this says there's no way Ted Cruz can keep on running. He has to drop out. This is it. This is the fatal blow. Cruz says, no big deal. I may not have reported it on one form, but I did on the other. Here he is yesterday.
Those loans have been disclosed over and over and over again on multiple filings. If it was the case that they were not filed exactly as the FEC requires, then we'll amend the filings. But all of the information has been public and transparent for many years.
So at best, maybe not fatal, a little sloppy, and it will dog him from now until caucus day.
It's going to dog him a little bit. I agree, it's not a fatal blow, but this is the problem. He underplays the importance of it, right? Like he makes it sound like it's just a filing problem, which it is.
Yeah.
But on top of that, when you run your campaign as we are all in, we are set, we've sold, or we've liquidated everything to fund this campaign.
Yeah,
We're giving it everything we've got.
Right. And then it turns out you were $1 million
riding high off that money from the Washington cartel that he's running against.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
And his wife gets a sweetheart loan from Goldman Sachs. How many people could get that?
Yeah, right.
All right.
Yeah, you think you could walk into Goldman Sachs and get $1 million?
For a political campaign?
Right. I mean, you might.
With no collateral.
Right, exactly. It's crazy.
Democratic side getting very interesting, too, and very testy because of the latest polls show Bernie Sanders now. He's the one cruising, pulling ahead among the Democrats in Iowa and in New Hampshire, and helped enormously by that MoveOn.org vote yesterday. And with that, as Bernie moves up, Hillary Clinton has been on the attack herself on two fronts, saying he is not good on guns and he is, believe it or not, going to raise your taxes to pay for his brand of health care, which is expanding Social Security. They also put Chelsea Clinton. I said this earlier. If you're going to have an attack dog, you need an attack dog. Don't set out an attack kitten. I mean, you don't send out your daughter to be the attack dog. I mean, come on. That's just bad form, I think. At any rate, so Bernie is fighting back, saying basically Hillary and Chelsea don't know what they're talking about. He's on with Thomas Roberts on MSNBC yesterday about the guns.
Let's start with guns on this issue.
Whoa. Let me just start off by saying that Secretary Clinton is really quite inaccurate on both of those charges. I have a D- voting record from the NRA.
Correct.
In 1988, I probably lost the congressional election because I said maybe we should not have assault weapons being sold in America. So,
and Bernie goes on to say, you know, the idea they're saying that I'm the NRA's best buddy. BS.
To say that I'm kind of a supporter of the NRA is really a mean-spirited and unfair and inaccurate statement.
Then do you regret or apologize for voting to give gun manufacturers immunity protection from lawsuits?
There were things in that bill that I supported. There are things in that bill that do not make sense, that are wrong. And as I have said for the last several months, I am willing to absolutely take a look at the onerous parts of that bill.
And on health care, Bernie has been... Whoa. Bernie has been for single payer, we know, all along. And what single payer means is Medicare for all. That's basically what it is. And he said he would raise taxes on millionaires and billionaires to pay for it. Bernie explains.
And I believe that the most effective way to provide health care to every man, woman, and child in a cost-effective way is through a Medicare for all single-payer system. Now she's attacking me because I support universal health care. In 2008, she was attacking Obama because Obama was attacking her because she supported universal health care.
And the campaign of Bernie Sanders' campaign released a photo of Hillary and Bernie together in 1993 when she was First Lady, and where she signed it and basically thanked Bernie for his leadership on health care and said, you know more about this than anybody else.
Whoops.
Getting very, very interesting. And so is where the breakdown between independents, Democrats, and Republicans in this country. We'll take a look at that when we come back here on the Bill Press Show. Your comments always welcome on Twitter @BP Show.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
This is my computer.
This is your computer. Let's go on the internet.
Let's go. Click it.
Yes.
Okay.
I cursor in between the R and the E. Pressing dot, I want you to just push the period.
She's gonna love me all over again.
That's it. Jamaica, here you go.
Here we go.
Good job.
Thank you. And I did it by myself. Feel smarter.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
All right. I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay. So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. You know, I followed your character since the first episode. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Thank you.
And listen, your storyline, it makes for incredible TV drama. Thing is, your drug use is very adult content. Too adult for the kids. So I'm gonna have to block you.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, have a good one.
You're a nice lady.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds. At highway speeds, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop the texts, stop the wrecks.
"26 minutes after the hour, Coach Rock from I Love Basketball TV joins us at the half hour. So, you know, looking at what's happening on the Republican side and the Democratic side, this outsider, insurgents of the outsider, Donald Trump on one hand, Bernie Sanders on the other, I think is helped explained, certainly explained in part by the fact that millions and millions of Americans on both parties are just fed up with Washington and fed up with establishment politics. It's also, I think, helped explained by the fact, and I saw these numbers this week that I find very, very interesting. The number of Republicans and the number of Democrats registered in this country today is at an all-time low. And independents are rising. The way across the board today, 42% of Americans identify themselves as independents. 29% only say, I'm a Democrat. 26% only say, I'm a Republican. Now, you know, I can remember when you were running campaigns and you would say, well, you got 40% are Democrats and 40% are Republicans to start with, so you kind of go for that 20%, or maybe it was only 15 or 10% of independents. They're the ones who decided. Today, it's just flipped around. The independents really rule. And I think that says a lot about where Bernie's support is and where Donald Trump's support is. It's among that, maybe not the rank and file loyal party members. It's among that great big group of independents. And if they go out to vote, that's going to make a huge difference this year. Back with
this
Coach
is
Rock.
the Bill Press Show.
I have run these canyons for 6 million years. I have traveled from the Rocky Mountains to the deserts, through scorching heat and freezing cold, from the land of the dinosaurs to fields of food.
I lend my hand to 7 states, 2 countries, 9 national parks,
and 36 million people across an arid West.
I am not the strongest or the largest, but I am the hardest working.
People love me.
My playfulness,
My beauty.
my power.
My life. But I don't think I can offer any more.
I am tired.
I am tired,
tapped,
and tied. Of the hundreds of major rivers in the world, I am one of the few who no longer kisses the sea.
Battles to harness my soul have been won and lost. Use me wisely, and I will sustain you.
Use me like you have, and I will break. My name
is
Red. The Grand River Red. The American Nile.
The Canyon Maker. I am the Colorado River.
And I am the most endangered river in America.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, here we go now at 33 minutes after the hour. How about that? The Bill Press Show on a Thursday, January 14. Thank you for being with us today. on your local progressive talk radio station, nationwide, coast to coast. We're there with you. And also, thanks for watching us on television on Free Speech TV. Coming to you live from our studio on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., where we're brought to you today by the American Federation of Teachers. Yes, indeed. Good men and women, teachers of America, under President Randy Weingarten, members of the AFT, making a difference in our classrooms every day. You bet. And check out their website and their good work. Throw them your support at aft.org. Well, you know, this is maybe the age of online media, and it is having a big influence on the way we cover the news, the way we hear about the news, the way we do business, the way we communicate with friends, and even maybe the way we learn how to play sports. Yes, believe it or not. That's what we're finding out with a new creation called I Love Basketball TV, created by, founded by, and starred in by Coach Rock himself, Rocky Ula. Rocky, nice to see you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, how about it? How long you been at this?
I started this with my business partner. We started this channel in particular about 3 to 4 years ago. He had started doing vertical jump maybe like 7 years ago. So, you know, he had that vertical jump thing going, and then we started the channel, I Love Basketball TV, like 3 or 4 years ago, I think.
So that's what it is. I Love Basketball TV. It's youtube.com/ I Love Basketball TV, right? So if you're not going to youtube.com/ TawkrTV worldwide to watch the Bill Press Show, you can go to youtube.com/ I Love Basketball TV.
Or you can search pretty much anything basketball related, and we'll probably pop up.
And it'll pop up, right?
Yeah.
But so for people who have not yet watched your videos, and I have after we met Christmas time, and I was so impressed with what you're doing. So these videos are how long?
So most videos are about 2 to 3 minutes, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. So we've kind of made them a little longer because we've been able to hold the retention span of viewers. So it's benefited us to have the videos longer.
So who's your audience?
So our audience is, you know, the basic like 14 to 18-year-old basketball player that just wants to get better. Sometimes we get older players, but the majority are the young middle school to high school players.
Mm-hmm. Could you do anything with Peter Ogburn?
Look, man, my fadeaway jumper has gotten so bad over the years. It's terrible, man. I used to rely on that thing, but not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a lot of different shooting drills.
You're a miracle worker then.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a lot of cool things.
You could work on them. I'll tell you, this is the acid test right there.
Put me to the test. We've had some tests, though. So
so how do these kids find out about you?
Most kids
I'm calling them kids. I hope that's okay.
Yeah. Most kids find out about us just from literally searching YouTube, whether it's how to shoot a basketball better. And it's helped us a lot because kids aren't really using Google anymore to search. They're using YouTube because everything's so video-based. So that's how we've been able to, like, dominate the search engines. And so anytime a kid is looking for how to dribble, how to shoot, how to do this move, how to, you know, do this NBA player's move, how to dribble like Stephen Curry, stuff like that, we do videos about that, and then they search it and they find us.
Let me ask you a question, because you hit on something that I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
Because not that long ago, Mark Jackson said that Steph Curry is hurting the game because you get all these, you know, young players who want to emulate Steph Curry. Now, I'm the NBA guy here on the show. Like, I love basketball, right? I don't watch much football. I watch basketball. What do you think about those comments?
I think those comments, I don't think they're correct. I mean, I think Stephen Curry is kind of what you want players to look at as a guy. He's not really athletic. He's not strong. He's not fast. I mean, he's quick, but he's not the fastest, you know.
Right.
He's not like Russell Westbrook. But because he's so skilled, he's been able to dominate the NBA, and it's something that's quite amazing to see. Like, he didn't come in dominating. He wasn't supposed to play Division I basketball. He definitely wasn't supposed to be, you know, an NBA All-Star. And now he's arguably the best player in the NBA because of how hard he's worked and, you know, his skills are at the level that they're at. So I think he's a great role model for all kids. He's great off the court as well. So, I mean, I don't agree with
I'm with you,
Jackson,
man.
Yeah.
I think that, like, He might be the greatest ambassador for basketball we've got right now.
He is.
Do you have any idea how many kids are out there, 14, 18, or whatever, who are who have signed up, who follow you?
So right now on our email list, we have over 500,000 players. So
Whoa.
Well, we're big on YouTube, but we're also really big on Facebook. We have over 1 million fans on Facebook. We're big on Instagram. So we've just used these social medias to build, not only a following, but also get them onto an email list so that we can market to them. But out of those, the people on our email list, of course, those are the high action takers.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not sure how many views a month we're getting. We're getting over a few million views a month on YouTube. So I'm not sure how many are like the same kids or how many are different.
Right. Yeah.
So only numbers I can really judge are the ones that are on our email list.
Well, that's impressive. And you mentioned so when they go to these videos, they're not getting the videos for free.
Well, they're watching YouTube for free, and I think that's a good thing because it's kind of me introducing myself to them. It's totally free, and they get. I build that trust and build that relationship
on YouTube. It's free, right?
On
and
YouTube
then if
it's
they
free.
want to go beyond that,
and
right?
then I offer them something free. So I say, hey, if you want more basketball training, get this free workout. I'll email it to you. So then they give me their email, and I email it to them. But then I get them on my email list, and then I market to them different programs that benefit them the best.
Right.
So we do a lot of things like segmenting. So we'll use like clickable links in emails to kind of segment. So if you're interested in ball handling, click this link. So I can segment them to a certain list. So I'm offering them ball handling products and then other players shooting products. So we try to keep the offers relevant to what the player needs.
All right, so it's a step. They watch on YouTube, they like it, then they watch your free kind of demo.
Exactly.
And then if they want to go beyond that, then they go to a specialized kind of
so I'll
video,
send them,
right?
Yeah, well, I'll send them like a link in an email. I'll send daily email broadcasts of basic email marketing. And I'll get, whether it's motivation or, persuasional emails that lead to a program to purchase that will help them get better.
And what do they pay for those?
So the prices for the programs are usually between $10 and $97, depending on how big the program is. Sometimes we'll do smaller offers because not every kid can pay $100. So we'll have the big programs for the kids that can. And then we have, of course, the cheaper programs that are like $10. Just for kids that want to train but just don't, maybe their parents don't want to spend that much money online.
And these videos that I've watched, just so people understand, it's you on the court, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm on the court doing tutorials, just talking. This is how you do this. Here's a cool drill that's going to help you shoot better. Here's a cool drill that's going to help you dribble better.
Let me ask you a question. I'm a big fundamentals guy.
Yep.
And I like I used to work for the San Antonio Spurs. They're my team.
Cool.
All about the fundamentals.
Yeah, that's what they're all about.
So when you see young kids coming up who want to play ball now, what are some of the things that you're seeing that they're not doing? What are some things that kind of universally you're seeing?
Well, one thing a lot of kids do is, of course, they fall in love with the NBA and guys like Stephen Curry and Kyrie Irving that can handle the ball so well that they bypass the fundamentals. That's why I always tell my kids that I train to watch college basketball more, because if you watch college, you don't see a lot of crazy crossovers. You don't see a lot of behind the back passes and stuff. Everything, if you watch college, is one dribble. You either going somewhere or you're not. You're going to the basket or you're shooting. Everything's really basic. So I tell them watch that. Of course, they all want to be that crazy ball handler out there. So one thing is keeping it basic. Like you said, the fundamentals are extremely important, and still you can see like San Antonio Spurs. Yeah. They keep it basic, and they're arguably the best team in the NBA.
So what was your professional experience that qualifies you?
Yes, that's a funny question I get all the time. So when I went to college, I got a Division II scholarship to school in Hartsville, South Carolina, and I didn't like it. It was too country. There wasn't a lot to do. So I went to study abroad in the Dominican Republic that next semester. And when I was there, I have family there, and they hooked me up with different people. So I, worked out with a lot of pro teams there and played, practice, trained with all those teams. And then I realized, wait, I can't do this because then I'll be ineligible if I come back and want to play college ball. So I was kind of stuck in between that. I was playing with the pros, but then when I came back, I wasn't going to be able to. So then when I came back, and then it was back to college, I really didn't have that same joy, or because I was like, man, I already played pro, now I'm back in college. And then that's when I linked up with Adam, and then he kind of wanted me to run the basketball side. Yeah, my business partner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I had some ABA teams, like one team was the Lynchburg Legends that wanted me to play for them, and then they folded. I guess ABA teams, it's hard for them to fund the money. And I was going to play with them, and then they folded for a little period of time. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm obviously not going to the NBA, but, let's see what Adam's talking about. And we started doing the video. So I started with just an iPhone, and I literally put the iPhone on like a box to video myself in the gym.
Well, I want to get to that when we come back. We'll take a quick break here with Coach Rock from I Love Basketball TV.com, is it? No, it's at youtube.com/I Love Basketball TV.
Yep.
Sorry. And this is a business. This is a successful business online, and you heard how many people are taking advantage of it. Here we go. You might have a question from an entrepreneur point of view, or you want a couple of tips on your basketball game. 866-55-PRESS. Now's the time.
Connect with The Bill Press Show on Twitter. Follow us at BP Show and tweet using the hashtag WatchingBP. This is The Bill Press Show.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where the ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Columbine, Virginia Tech,
Tucson,
Aurora,
Fort Hood, Oak Creek,
Newtown.
Newtown,
Newtown.
Newtown.
How many more?
How many more? How many more colleges? How many more classrooms?
How many more movie theaters?
How many more houses of faith?
How many more shopping malls? How many more street corners?
How many more?
How many more?
Enough.
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 Demand a plan.
Right now. As a mom.
As a dad. As a friend. As a husband.
As a wife.
As an American.
As an American.
As an American.
As a human being.
For the children of Sandy Hook.
Demand a plan. No more lists of names. It's not too soon.
It's too late.
Now is the time.
Before we all know someone who loved someone on that list.
No more lists.
No more.
Who they might have been. No more.
If we had just done something yesterday. It's time.
We can do better than this.
We can do better than this.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for our leaders to act. Demand a plan. Right now.
Right now.
You! Demand it!
Enough.
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 You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
Hey, here we go. 12 minutes before the top of the hour of The Bill Press Show. Too late for me, but maybe not for you. I Love Basketball TV. YouTube.com/I Love Basketball TV. Creator Coach Rock and star Coach Rock here in studio with us. Coach, before we get back to you, Peter's got a little bit of breaking news.
Really quickly, because the Oscar nominations are happening right now, or they just finished up. We've got all the categories. We'll bring all of them to you tomorrow. But for now, let's just do the Best Picture. There are 8 pictures nominated for the Best Picture. Spotlight, Room, The Revenant, The Martian, Brooklyn, Bridge of Spies, The Big Short, and Mad Max Fury Road.
Shout out Mad Max.
Mad Max is, as of now, I haven't seen all these. I've seen most of them. Is leading that pack. It's such a good movie.
George Miller, Best Director nomination as well.
Oh, did you catch that? Good.
So.
Good.
Haven't seen Mad Max. Well, hope I get that. Hope I get that one from SAG and AFTRA. Watch it this weekend. Yeah. Oh, that's good. All right.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good list.
That's a very good list. I can't think of any notable omissions.
So, Coach, I want to ask. So, these skills that kids are learning, aren't they better learned in person when some kids like standing right alongside you, they can at least ask you a question, am I doing this right, am I doing this right, and you can say no, did not.
Yeah, that's a great question because surprisingly many kids maybe not be surprising, but many kids are kind of embarrassed, they're insecure, and I'm sure many kids, if they saw me in person, might not even come talk to me. So by using training on the internet, they can kind of hide behind the computer. Not saying that in a bad way, but they can be behind the computer and learn and get better at things that they might not be good at, things they might be embarrassed to work on in front of other people or embarrassed to talk to, a trainer about. When the computer, they can, be in their room, they can search it on their own, and they can practice on their own.
Or I guess they can play it over and over, right?
Yeah, and they could keep watching it.
They could take it to the gym with them and have it there, their
exactly.
iPad
and that's
or
one thing we promote on our programs. Is that's the cool thing, because they're online. You could take your phone to the gym with you, and you can have the drills by you at all times. You can watch how to do them all the time before you start training, while you're training. Because you can access those videos online.
So have you had any feedback from coaches who are saying, hey, dude, these are my kids. I'm teaching them one way and you're teaching them another?
No, we haven't had any problems with coaches. A lot of coaches either want us to come.
I was going to say, I would imagine coaches would want you involved, right?
Yeah, we have a good, I haven't had any problems with players, parents, coaches. It's all been, shockingly good. We haven't had any trolls trolling us, sending us hate mail and stuff.
Yeah, no.
It's been pretty good.
Man, you ought to do some talk radio. You want some trolls. You want some hate mail. You're not getting any because we're getting it all.
Yep.
That's the problem here. So I'm not prying. I want you to answer the question about how much money you're making, but I do want to point out. So this is not just a hobby for you. You make a living doing this.
Yeah, so our basketball business is me and my business partner, Adam, and the basketball business is over a 7-figure business. So then we've created...
Got that, Peter?
Yeah.
So from that business, we've created another business called Get More Views, which that's kind of off topic, but, it's from the basketball training. And that one, it was in its first year, did 6 figures. So it's definitely something that it is beneficial. I think a lot of people, they think, we just sit on the computer all day and we don't work hard or whatever.
Right.
Or the internet, you can't be that successful, but it can be.
Right. So this is, like everybody's on YouTube, right? Or everybody's watching YouTube or something. But you've been able to take YouTube and monetize it.
And then not only that, but by building these big followings, we've been able to leverage ourselves with companies like Nike, Wilson, where they want us promoting their products. We do videos and we'll say hey, if you want to get this basketball.
Do you have corporate sponsors, corporate advertising?
We don't have any sponsors, so most of the deals we do are one-off deals. So Nike will pay a certain amount of money for this video for us to promote this theme they're doing or this product that they have.
Yeah, right. So when you go out to the mall or something, kids running up to you and asking you for tips?
Every now and surprisingly in Virginia, it doesn't happen that much. I go to the gym every day. I rarely get recognized. But when I was living in LA or when I went to New York, Miami, a lot of times when I go to bigger cities, I get recognized by players, younger players, kids. And that's when I could tell that they're kind of, scared to come up to me. It's a weird feeling, especially the first time it ever happened, because it's kind of surreal moment because I'm just doing YouTube videos and they looking at me as something bigger.
That's awesome.
Hey, Coach, watch my moves here.
Yeah, right.
All right.
That's awesome.
I'm telling you, well, congratulations. I'm very impressed. You're a great success story, and it's great to know you and hear all about it here. Thanks for coming in.
No
Coach
problem.
Ryan. And don't forget, you know where to find him, youtube.com/ILoveBasketballTV. I'll be back with today's parting shot.
Follow us on Twitter @BP Show. This is The Bill Press Show.
At Earth Justice, we defend the environment in the courtroom. Join our fight. When you take a seat, you take a stand. Earth Justice, because the Earth needs a good lawyer.
Sometimes when I'm walking down the street, I'm not necessarily looking out and seeing all these water-wasting lawns and people that aren't as connected to their neighbors and their lives as they could be. I'm walking down the street looking, going, edible oases, rainwater, fed landscape, and just looking at the possibility of these sort of landscapes up and down the streets of neighborhoods and communities all across this world. Small actions do ripple and they add up and they have a cumulative impact. And so when you're building upon your small mindful actions, you have the confidence and the ability to take on something a little bit greater. So that could be nice. This, in the context of where we're at as a planet with climate change and these really big issues and people that are more disconnected and less skilled than ever, it becomes even more amazing and powerful how much of a solution this is to design these ecological gardens and to come together with shared vision and shared voice. There's never been a time where your choices have mattered more. Doing something as simple as us transforming a landscape creates a model that anybody could look at far and wide, and you're sharing food and connecting and building skills together in your own neighborhood. It's a richer way to live in normal times, but in the new normal of climate change and erratic weather and economic upheaval, it becomes essential. Whether it's me, you, Gandhi, Che, MLK, Willy Wonka, whoever, past, present, or future, the power of our daily actions is all that we have. And like our community said, give me a place to stand and a lever long enough and I'll move the world. And that's what those simple actions do. They move the world every day.
The Parting Shot with Bill Press. This is The Bill Press Show.
Yeah, big news on the cable TV front yesterday. Word that Al Jazeera America is closing its doors just 2.5 years since its launch. Some of you remember the Bill Press Show was simulcast on Current TV before Al Gore sold the network to Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera actually put on a good newscast, hired some excellent people, but never scored more than an asterisk in the rating. At first, that didn't seem to matter because the government of Qatar, which owns Al Jazeera, had all the money in the world until the price of oil dropped to $30 a barrel and suddenly Al Jazeera America became too expensive to maintain. Of course, there was one other problem, too, with so much fear about Al-Qaeda. No matter how good a broadcast, most Americans just weren't about to tune into a cable network named Al Jazeera. It's the way it was, folks, and that's the way it is today. That's it. My parting shot for today. Thursday is all yours. Have a great one. Come back tomorrow for Jonathan Allen here as a friend of Bill. Have a good one.
This is the Bill Press Show.